the country's demand. However, has it been difficult or easy for you to actually fuel over the weekend and up to this morning? We're already having a hashtag that is trending on Twitter, and that is hashtag fuel shortage. If I can just sample about one or two this morning. This is according to... actually, this is a question that has been posed by one of our viewers this morning. They go by the name on Twitter, Mukwana ETH. I need an explanation why there is fuel shortage in Kenya. And the thread is quite long, and he has given one of the reasons or why he thinks that there's a fuel shortage currently. He goes on to tweet and say that retail petrol and diesel prices soared to record highs in many countries across the world in the past few months. This has been driven by a rebound in fuel demand since the coronavirus pandemic and supply disruption in the wake of Russia's invasion of Ukraine. Secondly, he says Kenya consumes an average of 6.1 billion liters of fuel products when the economy is in full throttle, with the transport sector, agriculture and household among the biggest consumers. Now, thirdly, due to the rising cost last year, the government introduced a subsidy to cushion consumers. This move has seen oil marketing companies' margin of about 12 shillings per litre reduced to below 3 shillings, with the government paying for the difference. We're going to continue dissecting that particular issue, and we welcome your feedback too. You can get us on Twitter at KBC Channel 1. Tell us more about this fuel shortage. Why do you think we're where we are? And how has been your experience over the weekend up until this morning? Now we cross over to matters politics, where Azimio la Umoja presidential flag bearer Raila Odinga has assured residents of Turkana County of enhanced security, improved infrastructure and expansion of the local economy that relies mostly on livestock farming. Speaking on Sunday in Lodwar Town, Turkana County, Raila said if elected, he will change the face of the arid region into an economic zone.
Muhimu zaidi ambayo tutaangalia ni mambo ya amani. Manake bila amani hakuna maendeleo, ama sivyo?
Mwaniaji urais wa muungano wa Azimio la Umoja Raila Odinga aliongoza wafuasi wa chama hicho kuzuru mji wa Lodwar katika kaunti ya Turkana kujipigia debe. Raila aliahidi kuzipa umuhimu sekta kuu katika eneo hilo, zikiwemo afya, usalama, mtandao wa barabara na ufugaji, iwapo watashinda kwenye uchaguzi wa tarehe 9 Agosti.
Tutafufusha ile cooperative society na hiyo kiwanda ya samaki kule katika ziwa ya Turkana. Sawa?
Well, this is just to remind you that further details are available on our website, and sorry for that mix-up there. Indeed, it is Swahili. But nonetheless, we have those details of what was said in Turkana, and they are available on our website. That is www.kbc.co.ke. Now we cross over to what the church has to say in as far as matters of politics are concerned, where the provost of the All Saints Cathedral, Samuel Wainaina, says poverty in the country has reached alarming levels. He was speaking during a special service to pray for political aspirants. Reverend Wainaina noted that Kenya has created a system in the country that impoverishes some while enriching others, saying Kenya has enough resources for all. Wainaina at the same time called on the political leadership to be prudent in the management of resources.
On Sunday at the All Saints Cathedral in Nairobi County,
give our leaders and the candidates the wisdom to
a special service was held to pray for political aspirants for the various political seats in the August elections. It is here that the All Saints Cathedral provost called on the church not to shy away from its role of identifying, supporting and eventually holding political leaders accountable to their actions.
You identify someone, you encourage them, You support them, even if it's financially or otherwise. And once they become, we do what? We now hold them accountable. If you don't want to listen to a political aspirant, walk out, go. You're not forced to listen to anyone, but don't throw stones.
Echoing the words of NARC Kenya leader Martha Karua, Wainaina urged Christians to lead by example and identify leaders that are visionary at all levels of government to ensure smooth running of the country from the counties to the national level.
If you have a great president and you have a shoddy MCAs or members of parliament, or you will have a good president up there. But let me tell you, the services now that are devolved, people will continue to be poor.
Wainaina further noted there is a widening gap between the rich and the poor, saying the level of desperation among Kenyans is worrying, saying this does not glorify God.
We have created a system in this country that impoverishes some and enriches others. It is evil. This country has enough for each one of us to enjoy.
Former President Mo used to say, siasa mbaya, maisha mbaya. Go forth and use your numerical power to elect people who fear God and who have integrity.
Among aspirants present included presidential hopeful Reuben Kigame and Mwaura Wahiga.
The country has enough resources for all. Message there from the church. Now, still keeping up with matters politics is that a section of civil society groups in Kenya has commended the Supreme Court over their ruling in the Building Bridges initiative, saying it affirmed the judicial independence. Ruth Wamboi with the details in the political news roundup.
With the Thursday landmark ruling by the Supreme Court of Kenya, Kenyans are waiting to see which way forward. According to the civil societies, the BBI bill proposed self-serving political changes that go against the will of the people.
The decisions that have been made by the current leadership and also those that are in opposition to be able to push an initiative that is against the Constitution leaves Kenyans with doubt and also trust in the people that we are going to elect in the general election.
It curtails abusive and excessive power of the state and non-state actors through the values and principles of good governance.
We have seen amendments that watered down the post-independence constitution, the massive handles to the adoption and implementation of the current constitution from the 1990s to date. That is from the time of Moi.
In Mombasa County, rivalry between Mombasa Women MP and her opponent Zamzam Mohamed, who want to dethrone her through the ODM ticket, continues to escalate with rigging claims in the just announced ODM polls.
Very ready for nominations. Ndio maana nimesema tumetengeza posters, banners, tumebrand magari, tukijua tunaenda nomination tukitembea kila sehemu. Kwa hivyo venye bodi watakavyoamua ndivyo itakavyokuwa.
Mimi nimekuwa ground and it's time yule mwenye yuko ground apewe haki yake. Wala sijakuwa favored na mtu yoyote.
Elsewhere, former Kitui Governor Dr. Julius Malombe, who is attempting a comeback, has urged Wiper leader Kalonzo Musyoka to issue him with a direct ticket in the party primaries.
They were told to subscribe to a card which was called K-Chick by paying 1,100, and they will be able to access all the facilities in this county without paying. Currently, there are no medicines in those particular hospitals, and the people are crying.
On the same note, former Nairobi Governor Dr. Evans Kidero makes a comeback as independent candidate to vie for the Homa Bay gubernatorial position. Kidero was among the political bigwigs who had their nomination funds refunded by ODM party after giving a direct gubernatorial nomination ticket to the outgoing woman representative Gladys Wanga. And Safina presidential candidate Jimmy Wanjigi now claims the poverty index has rose from 38 to 58%. Wanjigi spoke in Kutus town Sunday after handing over a vehicle to IPCA Bishop Peter Mwangichege.
All that think like you, all that believe that governing, you're a king, there's no kings here. We are all equal under the eyes of God, and this is now the time for us as leaders to give back to the people.
A section of villages in Uriri constituency of Migori County are taking advantage of the dilapidated roads to impose taxes on locals using roads passing through their land. Now, the locals say they were forced to part with cash to access the roads, which they use as alternative since the main roads are impassable.
Kabwana village in Uriri, Migori County. Here, makeshift toll stations are the order of the day. The only roads which are passable here pass through private land. Murky public roads rocked with potholes and poorly maintained are the other alternative. And to access the so-called private roads which are well maintained by a group of youth here, you have to part with a fee.
Wenye wanakuwa hapa na tena venye tulijadiliana na wenye walikuwa wanataka wapite hapa. Tulikaa chini, tukaongea kwa sababu barabara ilikuwa haiwezi kapitika.
The locals say they pay more than 200 shillings daily to access two villages that have been separated by the dilapidated roads. Locals pointing an accusing finger to the area leadership.
The way people are being taxed here every now and again is quite unbecoming. Hence, we have got our area MP, whereby this road is purely meant for him. That is the junction from Kabwana up to Ongeto, and even proceed up to Timlichoenga. All the time, even during the drought, this place used to have a lot of water here, and we don't know how those water are coming about.
And until the main rural roads are rehabilitated, the locals here will continue paying the self-imposed taxes, or they alternatively wade through the murky waters in the name of public roads.
Saizi tunaomba serikali, mwenye anatulinda, tafadhali, atutaki uchochezi yoyote na tutaki tatizo lolote na wenye ardhi huu. Tunataka barabara itengenezwe na hao wote wapite.
To the counties where inmates at Manyani Maximum Security Prison have called on the government through the Ministry of Education to fully absorb those who are taking primary and secondary education examinations into the formal schooling system. Volunteer teachers at the prison say it is evident a great number of inmates have shown interest in pursuing formal education and need to be supported. Details of this and other stories in our county news roundup.
Speaking during the 2021 results celebration at Manyani Prison, volunteering teaching fraternity called for construction of classrooms for inmate students and refresher courses for inmate tutors in the prison. Manyani Prison emerged one of the best performing with a mean score of 311, with top candidate emerging with 401 marks in the 2021 KCPE.
Kama umetupatia opportunity ya kuweza kuendelea na kufanya masomo kama hatujafanya huko nje, na wameamua kusupport kwa moyo wao wote. Nafasi ikipatikana kwamba resources zinazotakana katika shule, anything yenye inakuwa probative value kwa mwanafunzi iweze kuwa available, iweze kupatikana.
We believe that with the better facilities or with more resource being pumped into this area, we can be able to make better citizens from the prisons.
A group of Catholic women from Igembe North Sub-County have come together to give back to the less fortunate members of their community. According to Catholic Sister Maria Catherine, the leader of the group said some of those in need are the elderly and those living with disability, noting most community members have forgotten about them.
Na hii ilitubindi tutie nguvu kabisa, tuone tumeondoa hizi pusa kwa watu wetu. Ndio tukapanga kama hiki kikundi tusaidie watu wetu.
Elsewhere, leaders drawn from Thika have called for equal opportunities in Form 1 selection, saying private school students should be treated equally like their counterparts in public schools. Speaking in Thika during the closure of a 3-day private school teachers training on the newly introduced competence-based curriculum, the leaders decried what they termed as discrimination of their students, who they said are often sent to far-flunked regions instead of being accommodated to schools of their choice.
I don't see why a student from Kiambu is sent to Marara and then a student from Marara is sent to Kiambu. I don't understand the logistics behind. Can we, if it is Marara and they need good schools, there is devolved funds. Let us build those schools. Let us make them to be national at the local levels. It is possible. But not this issue of now sending Kiambu goes to Kirifi to wherever. That one, as an educationist, I want to say it has very negative impact to our students.
Finally, the top candidate in Busia County says she wants to pursue her dream of becoming an astronomer. Esther Aroche, a former pupil of St. Teresa Busia Girls Primary School, who scored 423 marks in KCPE, is calling on well-wishers to support her secondary education.
Now we cross over to the sporting arena, where Kenya's Judith Jeptum broke Paris Marathon record yesterday after clocking 2 hours, 19 minutes and 48 seconds to win this year's race in France. Now the 2021 Abu Dhabi Marathon winner slashed the previous course record of 2 hours, 20 minutes and 55 seconds set by Purity Ronripo of Kenya in 2017. Fantu Jimna of Ethiopia was second, more than 3 minutes behind Jeptum. Her compatriot Besu Sado completed the podium. Ethiopia's Deso Gelmisa won the men's title in 2 hours, 5 minutes and 7 seconds. Meanwhile, Kenya's Margaret Chalimo Kipkemboi clocked 1 hour, 5 minutes and 26 seconds and emerged victorious in the 2022 Barcelona Half Marathon. Ethiopians Gete Almeyu and Asenat Awoke finished second and third respectively. Kenya's Elvis Chiboi finished third in the men's race behind Haftu Teklu and Chala Regasa, both from Ethiopia. Congratulations to Judith there. Now, Ida Salima Jamain scored 422 marks in the 2021 KCPE exams, 6 marks less than the best student countrywide, and she attributes her success to hard work and the game of chess. Ida Jamain has been a chess player for just over 2 years, but she's yet to compete in a major tournament both nationally and internationally. Here's a short story of the 14-year-old who wants to join Kenya High School.
Born in a family of 3 children, Ida Salima is the second-born girl of Fred and Lillian Lukoye, parents who have done their best to see their kids shine. And one of those shining moments came when Ida Jamain scored 422 marks in the just concluded KCPE exams, attributing her success to the game of chess.
It's mom who introduced me to chess. She just started talking about it and I just wanted to engage myself with it, so I asked her to give
Chelsea, on the other hand, were beaten by Brentford 4-1, where we had also Leeds taking on Southampton. It ended on a 1-1 draw. On the other hand, Wolves and Aston Villa, where Wolves scored 2 against Aston Villa. That was Saturday. Let's look at Sunday results in as far as the EPL is concerned. West Ham was playing against Everton and scored 2 against Everton, 1, while Tottenham actually scored 5 against Newcastle there in as far as yesterday EPL matches were concerned. So today there is a game, and this is between Crystal Palace and Arsenal at 10 p.m. Now, Victor, this is a game you need to watch out for. And then tomorrow we are going to be here sampling the results. All the best, yeah? Arsenal fans, yes. Okay, now let's talk about the Matters Champions League, where we have tomorrow's matches. The quarterfinal will be between Benfica and Liverpool at 10 p.m. and Manchester City will be taking on Atletico Madrid at the same time, that is 10 p.m. Also, Wednesday, the EPL, we're going to be having Burnley taking on Everton. Remember, further updates of matches that were played over the weekend and what we're expecting to see today and Wednesday are available on our website, that is www.kbc.co.ke. But that brings a cap to Matters News this morning. I'm Regina Manyara, and I leave you in the capable hands of Victor Olo as we look deeper into what has been happening over the weekend in as far as matters politics are concerned. In the course of this broadcast, we'll continue sampling your views in regard to the fuel shortage that is being experienced across the counties. So share your experience, and the hashtag is #fuel shortage. Our Twitter handle is @KBC Channel 1. I'm Regina Manyara. Have a pleasant day ahead.
Tell me now. Who's that woman? Jack, I'm telling you, don't forget you have a wife, and your only son Sean is waiting for you at home.
Jack has taken the bait too. Everything is going the way we want.
Come to revenge. She's the one that's been having an affair with Jack. That's extremely shameful of her.
Are you an aspiring candidate in the upcoming general elections? Do you want your agenda and manifesto to reach your voters effectively? At KBC, we have the most comprehensive and credible online platform that has profiles of all prospective candidates. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants and let Kenyans know more about you, your past achievements, your manifesto, and your development agenda once you get elected to office. What's more, the website is easy to navigate. We will create your profile, post pictures and short videos with your campaign messages at affordable hosting fees. Log on to www.kbc.co.ke/2022 aspirants today and establish your brand authority as we lead towards the forthcoming general elections. Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle, or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns, and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news, and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Tell me now, who's that woman? Jack, I'm telling you, don't forget you have a wife, and your only son Sean is waiting for you at home.
Jack has taken the bait too. Everything is going the way we want.
Come to revenge. She's the one that's been having an affair with Jack. That's extremely shameful of her.
Fantastic. Now let's get the show on the road once again. My name is Victor. Welcome to the program. It's now time for me to take a look at what's on the front pages of our local dailies, and I'll be joined in studio just to discuss this further, even as we look at what happened on the political scene on Iron Politics. With me in studio, I have got Wakili Kevin Katisia, who is an advocate of the High Court. Karibu sana, Wakili.
Thank you.
As well as Dr. Joseph Rotich, who is a political science and analyst as well.
Thank you so much, Ola.
Actually, he's an economist.
I'm an economist by profession.
We'll talk about matters economy and fuel in jiffy, but then let me take you through front pages of our local dailies. Let me start with the Daily Nation. On the front page, where is the fuel? That is what's on the front page of the Daily Nation. Long winding queues running into the dead of the night are becoming increasingly common in petrol stations across the country as the fuel shortage threatens to spiral into a full-blown crisis, paralyzing the transport sector and drowning economic activities that had just started recovering from 2 years of restriction and lockdowns. Who is to blame, and is the country slowly grinding to a halt? That is what's on the front page of the Daily Nation here. President Kenyatta, Raila attack could have quote-unquote banned the nation. President Kenyatta cautions against political intolerance and violence, even as two Uasin-Gishu MPs and the county speaker are questioned on the Friday incident. That's also the front page of the Daily Nation. We have got pictorials there of long queues and motorists queuing to get that precious commodity, the fuel crisis in the country, rocking this particular nation at this particular point. But KPC has said that the country has enough fuel stocks and that ships are waiting at the dock to offload more supplies. Okay, so who is to blame? Okay, that's what's the front page of the Daily Nation. On the People Daily here, Uhuru wants insiders after attack on Raila. The president said that they are playing with fire as detectives claimed two MPs and Uasin-Gishu speaker have a case to answer. All right. Again, ODM faces nomination backlash. This is something that aspirants are casting aspersions on decisions to give direct tickets to tickets based on an opinion poll. Many say is strange and doubt in its efficacy. That's also the front page of the People Daily. Very quickly onto the Star. Uhuru stoning Raila would have set country on fire. Kosetany confesses youth paid to stone and heckle former Prime Minister. That was the front page here. President says that Ruto team insulted him on his doorstep. There you have it. And again, still on the front page, you have got fuel shortage. Crisis deepens as state and oil marketers pay row intensifies. Again, border man suspected of robbing foreigner. He's been arrested, and they say that he stole her M-Pesa money and abandoned her in Ngong area. The suspect, identified as Protas Onsongo, was arrested hours after the incident. Okay, and finally on the Standard, Raila attack, MPs grilled. DCI summons 3 politicians to shed light on incident that has shone spotlight on election-related violence. President condemns incitement, says that all aspirants should be free. All aspirants should be free to campaign in any part of the country. Motorists suffer as fuel crisis hits more regions. Now, what is the story here? It says that the marketers, that's the oil marketers, are saying that they have not been paid about 32 billion shillings, a figure that the Ministry of Petroleum and Mining disputes, saying that it is only 13 billion shillings that is outstanding. This is not the first time that the marketers have protested the delays. So that is the reason why we are having that problem of fuel across the country. And actually start with you, Daktari. This is something that probably is still denting many people's pockets, because even me, way in Homa Bay County, a liter of petrol was going for 210 shillings in some pumps,
I tell you, Lord, this is the most unfortunate thing that is happening to our country, and the reason being that the suppliers claims that they are yet to be paid their dues.
Yes.
And it shows how weak link we have as a government dealing with our business people. Because it is unfortunate, because if they say that they have not been paid, the disputed amount has not been paid. And has there been no recording of the transactions which were done? How could we have a disagreement between the suppliers and the government of failing to meet the same? It shows that the sector is disorganized. Although I can tell you the agony that Kenyans are facing today, for the last 3-4 days, it has been the worst thing that I've ever seen. I queued myself in Kericho, there were no fuel, and more so this petrol was actually missing.
The worst affected is super petrol.
And it has affected the economy very bad, because much of what is being moved, it is moved by fuel. And that means most of the vehicles stalled, and even some commuters had to pay more. They had to dip more into their pockets to pay the fare, which was not necessary in the first place because of the disagreement of some people. And these are things, the law, that are supposed to be solved before the innocent people are punished by those who knows what they are doing. Because even Kenyans today are asking, where is the fuel? And that is the question that majority of Kenyans are asking.
Yes.
Yet the government knows where the problem is. The suppliers know.
KBC says that there's enough fuel in the country, and chances are that by Wednesday the issue will be resolved. But Wakili, when you look at the whole scenario, this is unnecessary, right?
Yes. I agree with you, because there needs to be laws which govern the relationship between the government and these oil marketers. The question we should ask ourselves is there any law to do the same? Yeah, we should have what you can call Petroleum Development Levy Fund Act, which should be passed to regulate how the players in the oil sector and the government and also the consumers relate with each other. Because as the Dr. has said,
very low in a number of years since the pandemic, the corona pandemic, and so many other problems that this country have actually faced, and more so the mega projects that this country is actually undertaking, and of course the mega projects that have got timelines.
Yeah.
And these are some of the causes, because you could not really have some money which of course may be demanded in a month or two when there's a problem that is pressing now. And that is actually the nature of a developing country. A country that is developing must always budget its resources, even at the last hour. So in this case, the only problem is that since you cannot really be very sure as to how much you can collect within that span of time to enable you pay whatever you reallocated to the other part on time, then all these problems will not have been facing. Otherwise, when we have got very little resources, and of course it is not only Kenyans who are feeling low, it is also the government, because if the sales are not there, that means the government is not getting any taxes from the business or from these enterprises. So in this case, it is a problem that has affected both the common man and the government itself, as far as the issues of collection of revenue is concerned.
Doctor, I'm told that you have a full tank of petrol. Do you need security with you?
Security, I don't need security. Because I'm a very poor man.
Because you have a full tank.
Like, I don't long to see myself in future, being secured, because I've always had a feeling and the confidence that I'm a very clean man that does not need any security.
I'm it's Wakili who have, maybe a full tank. So you need some armed security around you.
Maybe the land grabbers and the looters.
Okay. So when you look at the back and forth, the push and pull between the KPC says that there's enough fuel. We have enough fuel in the depot, and ships in Mombasa are still waiting to offload fuel. But then now, for how long? As you said, there should be some legal framework that should be put in place to guide both the consumer and the supplier.
Yes. Yeah. And interestingly, although you heard yesterday the president said that we should blame this fuel crisis to the Russia-Ukraine war. And I believe since already the KPC is saying that we have enough fuel, how does Russia-Ukraine war come in the issue of payment of subsidies to oil marketers? We must be genuine and honest to Kenyans. And the way Dr. said, I think there is a crisis in the government. I saw the MPs, of course, will summon the Energy CS, Monica Juma, and ask her questions. The PS for petroleum, Bwana Andrew Kamau, has promised to meet all the oil marketers and discuss these issues. The question is, before we found ourselves in this crisis, what were the leaders doing? Today, I've been told that there is a looming strike by the Matatu sector. How will Kenyans go to work? So I think it is a question of prioritizing government projects. Because as we speak, I'm sure there are other government projects which are ongoing.
Yes.
But what are our priorities? I think that's the question we should ask ourselves. And of course, because it is the political season, you have had politicians politicizing this issue when innocent Kenyans are suffering. So I think politics aside, the government should deliver on its mandate and ensure that innocent Kenyans do not suffer consequences of what I may call poor policy implementation.
Exactly.
Yes.
Economically speaking, Dr. The common person is going to have that pain at the pump and again that dent in the pocket. But will it come down? It's retailing at 180 shillings in some parts of the country. Some places don't have fuel. Are we likely to see a situation where the economy is going to have some kind of a stability and you and I are going to feel some relief at the end of the day?
I think there's something that is not always spoken or law, but it is a reality in itself. Because you must also be very much aware and up to the fact that those who are in the government are also the game players, the chief game players in the petroleum business. So some of the policies sometimes are passed to influence the process to change the prices or increase the prices. So in this case, once we link the government and the government functionaries in the business that is always associated with private investors, I think that will be the beginning of our success. Because the chief players in the petroleum sector, those who are selling these fuels, are also very important personalities in the government. They are policy makers.
Yes.
And you are expecting them to lie low and say we reduce the prices. That cannot happen.
So conflict of interest taking
It is actually conflict of interest. The war that we are that Kenyans are facing, some of them are caused by their own leaders. So in this case, I think it is a high time that Kenyans become more responsive, even to the common man. Because, and even then, this country cannot move without really moving, people moving their goods and services from one place to another place. So it is a high time that Kenyans be told the truth of the matter, not that the government has failed to pay the pending debts to the suppliers.
Yes.
How did it happen?
How did it happen?
Even if you ask us, how did it happen? The government failed to pay. It cannot happen. And then there is some dispute. Dispute over what? Yet the business has been very clear. These are high-level businesses. How can you fail to capture that maybe the 13 or 32 million? Those are two different figures of wide difference. There is something more deeper than what we are seeing alone. So, Kenyans must be told the truth because Imampi and Mafuta ni real and it is a problem to Kenyans.
Imampi and Mafuta ni real, it's a problem to Kenyans. Okay, let's talk about some education matters. And now we are told that KCSE marking starts today, according to CS George Magoha, and it will end in 2 weeks' time, and thereafter parents and students will have to know their fate, and the exercise will take place in 35 centers and will be completed in 2 weeks' time. Now, according to the Kenya National Examination Council, 831,015 candidates registered for the 2021 KCSE examination in 10,413 centers. That is according to the education CS there. Okay, now let's take a break. When we come back, now we are going into the real flesh of the discussion here. We are going to talk about matters, politics, whatever happened over the weekend, and what we should expect in the coming week and even weeks ahead. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
Kegosin. Mwongo mmoja umekamilika. Twarejea kwa udi na uvumba, kwa vishindo si haba, nderemo na vifijo. Tulia tuli, maana mambo si kama kawaida tena, kwani kupitia runinga yako ya KBC ushapata tarehe. Vitimbi kila Jumatatu jioni saa 1:35. Usikose.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
Don't ever insult her again if you don't want me to rip what's left of your face.
Yeah, why don't you try? What do you know about this planned development with some investors in Costa Alegre Bay?
I don't trust that woman, much less any business she brings in.
It would mean a lot to me if I know that you're not against it.
Dorothy Nielsen was in fact murdered. And from the looks of it, it seems her body was dumped just a few hours after she died.
Lying heart. Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
can be very hot.
All right, welcome back. Now we have got a full pack house, and Dr. has just joined us. Dr. Richard Bosira has just joined us in the studio here. Dr. Your seat has sunk again.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
I'll sort that out briefly. Okay, so let's get into the discussion here and take a look at what happened over the weekend. Starting with you, Dr. Rotich, whatever happened on the front page of the Standard, Director, if perhaps we can have that story of the president talking about where the attack on Raila Odinga, if you have that story ready, Dr. Director? Yes, we want to listen to that story where the president was talking about violence and why it should not happen. All right. So the president basically said that attack on Raila Odinga would have set the country on fire. Let me start with you, Dr. Rotich. What do you make of that, whatever happened last week?
I think, before I come to that, let me say the attack on his Right Honorable Raila Odinga in Eldoret was the most unfortunate thing. It was a barbaric way of expressing oneself as far as politics is concerned. And that actually deserved the condemnation of all the leadership in this country. And it should not happen again. It should not happen again. But just that away, Bwana Olo, you know very well that this thing has been there for some time now. When you saw what happened or what transpired over the weekend during the burial of Gibor, is not something that we have not witnessed before.
Yes.
You remember Chimi Wanjiki was stoned in Migori. You remember His Excellency the Deputy President was stoned in Kondele, and then somewhere in Kiambu some time back. And not the two of those received the kind of condemnation that Kenyans have said about what really transpired to the helicopter of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga. I don't know at what level do we Kenyans wake up all of a sudden and realize that whatever we have been seeing, whatever we have been observing in other places, now is real that we must condemn. Because I can remember when the same thing was made on the Deputy President. There were some leaders who were asking, you people from these regions, can you speak out something against the whole idea? Nobody ever spoke about the whole thing. And now that when we come in a full blast, that this thing was very bad as it transpired in Eldoret. I can see some prejudice there. I don't see honest in the whole thing because, and let me tell you, when any bad thing happened to a Kenyan, be it a border rider, be it a Mkokoteni driver, be it a car driver, be it whatever nature, made it on Kenyans, it must receive the same condemnation as we saw in Eldoret after the stoning of the helicopter, of Right Honorable Raila Odinga. So we must learn in Kenyans that we must respect every citizen. We must respect Kenyans in their respective status. Not necessarily that you have to be huge, short, dwarf to receive that kind of condemnation. You saw what happened recently, when this issue that happened at the Forest Road, where some lady was molested by some goons, border. Then the whole borders in the country were harassed. Some of them were put in, their borders were confiscated, they had to pay up all sorts of things. And such reactive approaches, I think Kenyans, we must refuse. And whatever we do to every ordinary Kenyan must also be done to everybody in this country, so that we may be seen to be respecting the law and not practicing what I may call a selective justice.
All right.
What happened in Eldoret is something very bad.
Okay. Let's take a look
just as bad as what happened in Kondele, just as bad as what happened to Chimi Wanjiki in Migori. And that should have received the same condemnation.
Absolutely. Now let's take a look at that story where the president was yesterday. The president spoke about that issue and about political violence and intolerance. Let's talk about that.
Pipeline Embakasi South in Nairobi. President Kenyatta was the chief guest at the Africa Inland Church pipeline. With political temperatures hitting fever pitch over the recent display of intolerance,
President Kenyatta, who addressed a roadside rally after the service, called for tolerance among political actors and their supporters ahead of the August elections.
Usifanye siasa ya kugombanisha watu. Mimi nawauliza jameni. Mimi hata kwetu kule Gatondo Ishaweri, si munaona wanakuja kunitukania kwa mlango yangu. Mimi nawaangalia tu nasema Mungu waacha, mimi sina shida. Kwa sababu mtu ambaye anafikiria ya kwamba matusi ndio itampatia kura, ngoja ataona ashangae. Mimi nikisema naunga baba mkono, mimi sisemi mwingine ni umbaya, lakini kura yangu mimi najua pahali nataka iende. Ama namna gani? Si hiyo ni haki yangu? Nimekosea?
Reacting to Friday's attack on Azimio la Umoja presidential candidate Raila Odinga's chopper, President Kenyatta said political intolerance was a recipe for chaos.
Kama kitu ingetokea hapo, hiyo jiwe iwe imeipiga huyo mzee, si hiyo ni moto ungewaka taifa letu la Kenya? Tunataka mambo kama haya. Watu waombe kura kwa njia ya heshima na amani. Si namna hiyo. Kutangaza msimamo ya mtu sio kufanya wewe ni adui yake, ni msimamo wako tu.
The head of state appealing to Kenyans to maintain peace and shun those keen on causing mayhem.
Sasa jameni, jiulize. Ukiwa wewe umechukua mawe ama umechukua panga kukatakata mwenzako, badala ya kugojea miaka 5 uweze urudie, wewe ni mtu ambaye amepotea. Umepotea.
The president also sought to explain the current hardships that include the fuel shortage and the increased cost of living, blaming it on the current war between Russia and Ukraine.
Fertilizer imepanda, bei ya mafuta imepanda, na pia kumekuwa hata shortage ya mafuta. Na waomba tuwaombee hawa wenzetu wawache hizo vita, kwa sababu wakuumia ni sisi. Wakuumia ni sisi, wananchi wa Afrika, Asia na kule kwingine ambao wanategemea hayo mafuta na mambo mengine kwa maendeleo yetu.
All right. Certain things the president talked about. Nikisema naunga mtu mkono does not mean that the other person is bad. Actually, that's what's it's captured here on the story. I'll give you that newspaper briefly. But the president said that, that's immature politics. Let me start with you now, Dr. just to get your salutation, even as we welcome to the show now officially. Officially, good morning.
Morning. How are you, Victor?
I'm fantastic.
Thank
what do
you
you make of that story, according to the president?
I would like to say something in relation to what my brother here has said.
Yes.
I think, one, our people should know that violence is evil, especially political violence of whatever form. Violence cannot be justified if it's exercised by a legitimate authority and legally founded. But when we want to argue that if Kondere was not condemned adequately, and if Migori was not condemned adequately, are we saying that we can justify any form of violence? No, we shouldn't. And we are moving closer and closer to the elections.
Yes.
And Eldoret in itself is a hot spot. It's actually a hot spot. I think if you ask we still remember Kiambaa and other places.
Yes.
It's a hot spot. If you ask security agencies, they will tell you one of the hot spots is Eldoret. And it showed its ugly face. While Odinga was there was no provocation. It was not even a political rally. It is a burial. You know, it looks like there are some people, and politicians should stop. Some people are using violence to scare people. And we have been in this country for long enough. We know what happened in 1992, 1997, 2007, 2008. All this, we have been here. And this is how it begins. And then the intolerance grows as we move closer to the elections.
Yes.
And people make claims that our votes have been stolen and all this has been done. I would say that some of the violence that we experienced, like we saw in Eldoret, it seemed to have been executed with a plan. In fact, I did research in the 2008, 2007, 2008, and in some places violence was planned. In others, violence was spontaneous. In some cases, like Kondere, and I saw also in Migori and other places. Yeah, you could see, particularly the one I saw in Kisumu, even in Embakasi, youths are running after each other. They're running after each other. The others are frustrated, kind of.
Yes.
I don't want to justify any for whatever reason that they were doing that violence. It's wrong, and politicians must shun violence. Whoever instigated that violence. Recently, my brother has talked about the border borders. Border borders meted violence on that lady. Honestly, they have meted violence on us. I will tell you, they made violence on me in Bomet, if people are listening. A border border hits me from the behind. I stop on a traffic jam. I hold the bike. They come, wrestle the bike out and they release him. And then they start saying, Choma Gari. You know, I was threatened. My kids were in the car. We cannot justify any form of violence. And when someone stands and says, "What I should go to the police station and pick their bikes," you want them to be shot? You know, I looked at it and said, this is not the time we should encourage anybody to retaliate or anybody to use violence to achieve any political ends or whatever ends you want to achieve.
Yes.
So I would say the president came out to just to condemn. I think it's the right time that every leader in this country, what that name, should condemn any form of violence, particularly related to politics. Because I don't think it did not steal anybody's thing. Then we say it's more violence against a thief or whatever. Even that one is not justifiable. There is a law. So we shouldn't. And when he condemns it, it should be condemned by everyone else. I saw William Ruto coming up and condemning it. Many people have condemned this kind of violence across the board. That is the way to go. And the state must take its place and stop this kind of violence that we are seeing.
But you see now, Dr. we'll be speaking on end, but legally speaking, we've never seen any serious action, any visible action taken against any of the perpetrators. You know, Honorable Kositanyi will record a statement, Honorable Sudi will record a statement, and the speaker and a few guys will be arrested here and there, but we don't see tangible action taken against them, actually to deter, the same way which was taken against the the guys along Forest Road. Right now, there's some sense of sanity that has come to that particular sector. A few 3-4 days ago, I witnessed an accident between a motorist and a motorcycle. Do you know what was happening? Everybody was going about their business. Everybody was going about their business. So, some sense of action not taken?
I agree with you, Victor, and I agree with my seniors, whom I am very privileged to share the same platform with them, that we cannot tolerate violence, whether political or whichever kind of violence. The state or the government has the duty to Don Bosco Gichana and other scenarios whereby you have seen the government, the security system has not been able to properly and sufficiently manage those political situations. Of course, when it comes to the border sector, for example, and many people have been blaming them for all this manner of violence. Because sometimes they are hired, others go there just to participate, and then now they want to take advantage of the situation. I think it is high time that the government, and especially now the National Police Service, ups their game and protects the citizens. Because you see, the way we have said, even if after summoning Caleb Kositani, Oscar Sudi, and the speaker, and they gather all the evidence, chances are there will not be enough evidence to prosecute those particular individuals. You saw what happened in was it in Kericho when Mithika Linturi was in Eldoret. Yes, yes. He was taken to court. Eventually, we are not saying that he must have been convicted, but there was no enough evidence. Even the border issue which happened here in Forest Road, the guy was taken after a lot of work of looking for him. He was taken to court. Then he was released because there was no enough evidence. I think it is the duty of the National Police Service, to undertake a sufficient investigation. Because even if you take somebody to court, the court will rely on the evidence which has been brought by the prosecution. So I think the government, and especially, and I liked what the CS for Interior said the other day, that them as civil servants, they have to leave politics and do their work as civil servants, because it is that particular ministry which has the whole duty of protecting Kenyans in this period. And I also saw what the PA said, Karanja Kibicho, that the issues of hate speech, they may have to suspend them for now. Then I was shocked, how can you suspend such issues? Because those hate speech remarks are the ones which provoke people to go into these violences. And I agree with Dr. Bosiri on the issue of sometimes we have planned violence and others are spontaneous.
Yes. And Dr. We should be very much afraid, because when it starts like this, it spirals into a behavior now. Because it happened in location X, it happened in location Y, now it's going to happen in location Z. All of a sudden, it's happening in the whole country.
Let me tell you, Lo, whatever happened in Eldoret, and whatever has happened everywhere in this country, violence is violent. And whoever instigated the violence, I think we should term them rightfully as goons in those areas. You see, I saw a lot of talks when it was after the stoning of the Right Honorable Raila Odinga's helicopter. Now the whole insinuation, it was as if the Kalenjins were fighting Raila. That was not the true position.
No, I don't think so.
No. What I'm telling you is what the reflection on the ground. Let me take you to a small issue. I had my mechanic who happens to be a Luo, a close friend of mine. When I met with him yesterday, he said, Rotich, you are very lucky. I never met you the other day when Raila's helicopter was stoned. I would have stoned you. These are small men whom we are talking while we are choking. But I want to tell you, that is how these people are taking this thing on the ground, literally. So they are not digesting the way you are digesting like me. We can discuss all these things and leave it as a discussion. But Kenyans at the lower ebb may just make the whole mountain out of a small hill. So, and that is the reason why whenever we are talking about such kind of acts of violence, we must treat them as individual, as to the limit of those people who cause the violence. And that is why whenever, like now, those who stoned the helicopter, they must be taken to the full force of the law.
Absolutely.
And those culprits must be, they should be known in Kenya that these are the people who did. And bringing on board people like Kosita. But of course, I don't want to preempt the investigation that is going on. Talk of Kosita, talk of Honorable Sudi, talk of the Honorable Speaker. In my own imagination, although I don't think that people of such caliber could have thought of hyping a plan to stone an aeroplane or rather an helicopter. It is not there. And as Kalenjins, I'm a Kalenjin, let me just inform you today. But we respect the dead to the maximum. I'm telling you, no, let me just whisper to you. I want to take you back to where I come from. We respect the dead, and we respect the visitors who come to mourn with us. Doing such a thing has never been anywhere in the Kalenjin land. And that whatever happened on that day, I wish the investigation will come out in real terms. And there is something that you said about why we have not been pinning down the culprits. You see, when the investigation is skewed and it's done politically. Where when you take these guys to the court, whatever the courts are demanding are evidence of what really transpired. And if it was a politically instigated kind of mine, the investigation that was done under some guidance of political difference, you will not get the answer. When you go to the court, that thing will have to be quashed out.
Then who should take the blame if you don't take the answer? We don't get the answer.
That is what
be the real.
No. What I'm saying, investigation should be scientific as much as possible. Let you unearth the culprits by following the real scientific way of investigating a matter. That will serve as evidence in the court of law. But when you are doing investigation while having political difference in your mind, you will never get anywhere. And that is what is most happening.
I'm quite interested in understanding this because, Doctor, before I come to you, Wakili, IEBC has to play a very pivotal role here.
Yes.
Because we've had a couple of legislators presenting before IBC for questioning and what have you. But then, should there be a legal framework again that should deter each and every politician that if you are found culpable of mistake X and Y, then this is the repercussion?
Yes.
But as we see, I mean, most of them go scot-free.
I agree with you, and the Elections Act is very clear that.
Yes.
Once a candidate engages in any form of violence targeted to their opponents or members of the public, then they are automatically disqualified. But now, as Dr. Rotich
the keyword
said,
is automatically.
Yes. But now, as Dr. Rotich has said, the issue is now getting the evidence. Yeah, because the issue, these political leaders, most of them don't directly plan or execute those
proxies.
Exactly, they do it through proxies. So there's no direct connection, and whenever there's direct connection, they will try to justify as to why this and this happened. And I partly agree with Dr. Rotich and partly agree with Dr. Bosire on the issue of blame game. You see what happened to the deputy president in Kondele, for example, and also we saw the same happening to him in Moranga.
Yes,
at the time you think his convoy was stopped. Yeah, and to be honest, at that point you did not hear the government coming out in full force and condemning those people who perpetrated those kind of violences. But now, after what happened in Eldoret on the former prime minister, you saw even the president himself came out and spoke against it. And I think whether somebody is a former prime minister, a deputy president, or any senior leader, all of us are Kenyans. Yeah, small innocent people every day face violence. Absolutely. But do you hear the government even talking about them? No.
Yes.
I think it is high time that there needs to be a fair playing ground. Because you see now, when you heard Caleb Constant yesterday, he was saying they are just politically targeted. Yeah. Of course, over time, the DCI, the police service, there have been all those manner of political accusations that they are being
and they know when they say they are politically targeted, the whole case takes a different turn.
Exactly.
Yes.
But now, if they are professional, they will be able now to differentiate politics and do their professional work, get all the evidence, because the IBC, for them to disqualify a candidate who has been doing violence, they will need evidence. Where will they get that evidence?
Okay.
Yes.
Dr. Bosire, you know what happens? The president had to come out clearly because most of the politicians, they use choppers, to campaign. That is given. It's a busy season for all of them, crisscrossing from one corner of the country to the next. So you can imagine, we have got 50, 200 choppers flying this particular country at a go, and we have got stoning happening left, right, and center. You can imagine the kind of a nation we would have at the end of the day.
Victor,
yes,
I think for me it's scary.
It's scary.
It's scary because people, when even let alone choppers, when I'm driving home, I should feel safe. I should feel safe. First, it's a feeling. Actually, security is about more of what we feel about a people as a people or as an individual. What I feel, if I feel safe. Someone will say it's safe, but I might not go there or go to a particular place. We should have that safety and that feeling of safety and protection by the state. Because the state is actually, its responsibility, as again you said, is mainly property protection of lives and property. Let alone our liberties also, which should be protected by the state. But if the state doesn't, then who will? The other issue is, but also ourselves, we have a responsibility. We have a responsibility. Now, when people are incited to violence and there is no evidence, my brother here is a lawyer. Sometimes I find that lawyers will not provide all the solutions that we need. They go to court and say there's no evidence here, that you cannot link directly this, but we know and we have seen videos that this guy actually stabbed the other guy.
Even you're on the spot on behalf of your colleagues.
This guy, like the Bodabada thing.
Yes.
This guy actually did what they did, and there is a video, and they say it's inadmissible.
Yes.
But then look at it. How do we find redress, and how do we get justice for the people who have been violated? You know, the law itself cannot bring this, and that's why I suggest that we must use non-legal means to solve our problems. Perhaps shaming. I like what the DP said.
Yes.
We deny them nominations, tickets to stand on those political parties. If it's UDA, if it's Jubilee, if it's ODM, those who are perpetrating violence, we can deal with them that way. Particularly kind of non-legal means or community approaches towards violence. And again, people get emboldened, Victor, when these things happen, and it will keep on spiraling. It keeps on going up, because if nothing happens today, like the Rintuli thing, nothing happened. Someone else will do, nothing happens.
Yes.
As we move closer to elections, people will feel like nothing will ever happen to them. 2000 to 2008, how many people were prosecuted?
Yeah.
Whether the International Criminal Court and found guilty or locally. But didn't our people die? Didn't Kenyans die? Over 1,200 people die in this country? Yeah. They did. So we must actually, as a people, make a decision to shun violence, condemn this violence. For me, it doesn't matter at what time you are condemning. If one of your child messed up yesterday and another one messes up, and you beat this one, it's not that, why didn't you beat not that? If we start talking like that, then we lose it. You lose discipline in the family.
Yes.
we lose it. And when they talk, I listened to Sudi and Caleb Kostani. When you mention from your own mouth, investigations are going on, and you say this is politics. But what is politics? Do our people understand what politics is?
Yeah.
Politics is serious business. Politics is about influence. They want to get it to become more influential by being elected. Politics is about resource distribution. That's why people are supporting their own people, thinking that when you have a deputy president from Rift Valley, for instance, or from Nyanza or from Central, the resources will come your way. There is a feeling, there is an understanding that actually politics has an impact on how resources are distributed. And it's true. That is what we teach. Politics is about influence, and influential is about who gets what, when, and how. This is about distribution of resources in society. It is true, it is. But then when we say this is politics, when it's violence, so it's politics. You are using violence as a means.
They know how to run around with it.
Yeah, they know, because nothing perhaps will happen because the the lawyers in this country, and the law is the way perhaps it is in this country. You cannot pin down. Why I don't know. Nobody has gone to Parliament and say admissible video clips are admissible in court as evidence in the courts.
Wakili knows why.
So that we are able to deal with this monster once and for all. But the way we are going, and I wish that we do not say that that one was not condemned and this one should not condemn, because for me it emboldens them, those who are perpetrating violence, to continue. But I wish that the state will pin down those who are directly responsible, whether by planning or executing, so that from now on people would understand this serious matter. And also the promise made by the DP.
Let me quote what the president said yesterday. And I quote, "Why on Baba's helicopter? What did that helicopter do to you? What if something happened? What if that stone hit him? Don't you think Kenya would be burning by now?" These are so many questions from the same person. Question one, why Stone Baba's helicopter? Question one. What does that helicopter do to you? Question number two. What if something happened? Question 3. What if that stone hit him? Question 4. Don't you think Kenya will be burning by now? 5 questions.
Yes, Victor. Let me mention something, Victor.
From the
Let me
same
mention
person.
something.
Yes.
You know, sometimes I also find, there is fighting in Pokot and other places.
Yeah.
What if someone fires it in the air and it tumbles down and kills the occupants? What will it be talking about? Everyone, these politicians are flying all over. If it happened, for example, to Ruto, what happens? It's an important question. We should stop. For me,
yes,
it's like, stop this violence, otherwise plunge the country into chaos.
5 questions coming from the president. First of all, he started Baba. Why stone Baba's helicopter? Wakili, 5 questions from the same. Perhaps it's just paraphrased, but you can imagine the duration.
Yes.
You know, perhaps it came in within 20-30 seconds, 5 questions, right? Yes, go ahead.
And I think we all respect the personal right of the president to have his choice for presidency. And of course, clearly we know that the president's choice for president is Raila. However, the questions he's asking are genuine questions
and they're waiting.
Valid questions, and they are waiting.
Yeah.
Because, for example, why should you wake up and go and stone an helicopter? If it catches fire, everybody there will. Yes. And if, for example, you hit the Honorable Raila with that stone, and something happens to him, we must appreciate that Raila is a senior leader in this country. He has a big following. And if you touch him, you're actually touching so many people. And there can be a very big violence. And I think the same applies to the deputy president and other senior leaders. I think the president was right in condemning what happened in Eldoret. However, of course, for political reasons, people are also questioning why he did not, with the same energy, question what happened to the deputy president. But I think we must appreciate that as the head of state, even though he has his preferred presidential candidate, he has the responsibility to protect the rights of all Kenyans. So I think what I can maybe require more from the president is for him to also differentiate his personal interest of campaigning for Raila, and also now the duty of ensuring that there's law and order in the country.
There must be a very thin line. There must be a very thin line. He knows exactly what you're saying. He's very much aware of that fact.
And in response to what Dr. Bosire said with regards to employing other means of helping fight this kind of violence, I agree with him, because law is very technical and procedural.
People say that it's like amoeba. It doesn't have
because
shape.
Now, for you to get enough, if that's somebody who took a stone and threw at the helicopter, do we have evidence connected? As a police officer, you can see someone doing that with your own eyes, but that person will go to court and say, "Where's the evidence? I did not throw that stone."
Doctor, you answered.
Yes, and I think it's high time.
They saw no violence occurred.
So they will say
there will be no violence.
So they will say there was no violence, and I agree with Doctor that we need to have. And I agree with when I saw the provost for All Saints, Samuel Nena. And I think it is the duty of every sector in the country, the clergy. Even leave alone the politicians. All people must wake up and now try to condemn these manner of violences. These people who go to rallies and throw stones, they have families. What if their parents or their friends condemn them for doing that? But you see all this manner of political influence, and the people, of course, know that even if you arrest me, there will be no charges which will succeed against me. They will continue doing that.
Okay, you know what, Wakili? Legally, we are supposed to be doing some stuff here, Kimpango. So let me also take a break. And we come back. Doctor, I'll give you a last word on that. Then we talk about the issue of the nominations. It's already started to create some fire across the political divide, and starting this month, we are seeing many political parties now going to the primaries and picking their preferred candidates. Now, let's take a break, and we come back. We have got 2 doctors and a lawyer in studio to help us discuss these matters. We'll be right back.
Jack, I'm telling you, don't forget you have a wife, and your only son Sean is waiting for you at home.
Jack has taken the bait too. Everything is going the way we want.
Come to revenge. She's the one that's been having an affair with Jack. That's extremely shameful of her.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
Don't ever insult her again if you don't want me to rip what's left of your face.
Yeah, why don't you try?
What do you know about this planned development with some investors in Costa Alegre Bay?
I don't trust that woman, much less any business she brings in.
It would mean a lot to me if I know that you're not against it.
Dorothy Nielsen was in fact murdered. And from the looks of it, it seems her body was dumped just a few hours after she died.
Lying heart fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
And we're back, and we have the battle of doctors. That's the bad thing about having two doctors in studio. They're still arguing even off air. Anyway, welcome back. We are still having this discussion with the Dr. Richard Busiri, political analyst and lecturer of political science. And we have got Wakili Kevin Katisia, who is a Wakili at the advocate of the High Court, and as well as Dr. Busiri, Dr. Rotich, who is an economist by profession, but with a lot of bias to politics. Anyway, politics is politics. All right. Dr. Rotich, your final word on that issue.
There is something that I saw, Lo, the last question that was asked about, had the stone hit Right Honorable Raila, what would have happened? That there would be fire.
What if something bad happened? What if that stone hit him?
I think, Lo, the president's remark is actually 100% right. Because having the background of the last election, where after the disputed election of 2017 that led to the handshake, violence was everywhere in this country. More so in Nairobi, nothing was done because of that difference that it was between Right Honorable Raila Odinga and His Excellency the President after the election itself. So I think His Excellency actually talked based on that background, that had you hit the personality, the person of Raila, Right Honorable Raila Odinga, what would have happened? Fire would have sparkled. I think it is very true that something very bad would have happened, because the communities would have retaliated. I mean, those where Raila comes from would have said, now these people are attacking us. They would have taken as a whole community, not as goons or individuals who actually committed a crime. And that is something that we must be very clear, Law, even in the days to come. When a goons actually cause mayhem to anybody, they must be addressed directly as goons, as thieves, as criminals, not as communities. That is the only way we can be free from this tribal alienation or whatever. So that whenever you commit a mistake, you always refer to your own tribe as for protection. A criminal is a criminal, and that is that way.
Yeah.
So the issue that His Excellency actually remarked that it was going to initiate or rather spark of fire in this country or violence, it is actually very true. And we must ask Kenyans that we must tolerate one another. But I was not seeing politics in Eldoret, Bwana Olo, because this was a funeral. It was not a political meeting or rally. It was after the burial, when His Excellency, when the Right Honorable Raila Odinga was leaving the stage, is when this thing was actually done. And it should be treated as individuals.
And actually, according to the story,
of those
Right Honorable Raila Odinga actually arrived late, even after the body had been taken to the graveside, So he just joined the family briefly. So when he was coming out, so somebody would ask, how quick was that?
No, let me tell you, I was also listening to the document that was there. Mandako himself was the one who escorted Raila in his own car.
He's the one who picked him.
He's the one who picked him. And he was expressing, saying, how could I have been the one picking Raila from where he was to the where the burial was. And then he plans for whatever he could have planned. That is unthinkable. So, I mean, insinuating because these are the first people who also apologize. By apologizing, they were not apologizing on behalf of themselves. They were apologizing on behalf of the community, that we are not prone to this. Whatever happened to Right Honorable Raila was very unfortunate. And that should be taken that way, Bwana Olo, because politics also has its own toll. Because some people have taken it.
Yeah.
Insinuating as if it also, I mean, the deputy president was among the planners, because these guys who actually did are mainly the support of His Excellency the Deputy President. But that is not the case. It is something that was done by goons, criminals, who must be put to test by the court of law. And that should go that way.
Yeah.
And Kenyans must be well aware that we are in politics.
Yes.
Anybody can say anything. And of course, you know, take that one as a gospel truth.
Gentlemen, we all agree that we've been here and we saw what happened in 2007, quite fresh in most Kenyans' minds, that it all started like this and at some point it has to stop. Politicians should be allowed to transverse, because that's why we have got, election in the country. We are a democracy, and each and every politician should be given a chance to campaign in whichever part of the country they want to go to. Let them sell the manifesto and ideas and let them go home. If you don't have any business, the simple thing is, go and do your business somewhere else. We all agree on that?
Yes.
Okay. Thank you. Now, let's talk about the issue of nomination. It is that month, and most politicians are now having, what do you call it, tumbo joto, because it is that month to determine who is going to fly the ticket and who is going to carry the ticket for the various political parties. Let me start with you, Wakili. Many candidates are now eyeing for that coveted ticket. And we've seen a lot of people now starting to say, not free and fair, not free and fair. We want this, we want that. What do you make of that? ODM has started giving direct nominations as we speak.
Yes.
Yes.
I think being a member of a political party is one of the rights of citizens. Yeah. And if, for example, somebody is a member of ODM, Jubilee, Wiper, or any other particular political party, they have that particular political party has the responsibility of ensuring that there is the rights of those members of the parties are protected. There must be fairness in how the party affairs are conducted. If, for example, on the issue of direct nomination,
yes,
and you have seen it being an issue in is it Omabe? Between Wanga and Kidero, for example. I've seen similar complaints in Mombasa between Shabal and Nasir. Yeah. The issue of direct nomination is an issue which is usually dealt by a party, because the party officials, the National Elections Board of a party,
yes,
also they have the right, yeah, to determine how the nominations are conducted. If they are convinced that maybe they do a negotiation like what you saw, what the UDA has been doing, yeah, there's negotiation and people agree, okay, let's front this particular person. And I saw UDA doing that in Kenya.
That's called consensus?
Consensus.
Right.
Yeah, that's called consensus. But if there are more than two people who have expressed interest for that particular ticket, like in Omabe, for example, you saw Kidero saying he paid for the nomination fee. Wanga did the same. We saw Badi withdrawing his candidature, and Kidero was saying, no, I will go to ODM and ask them to refund me my nomination fee.
Which actually ODM started doing sometimes last week.
Yes. And I think every individual, every party has the right to ensure that nominations are done fairly. Yeah. If consensus does not work,
yes,
why can they then subject these people to nomination? That's the question. But now the other legal question will be, if I'm denied that ticket and the party has chosen this person, is there any avenue I have to seek remedy for that? That's the question. if you look at the Political Parties Act, which was amended the other day,
yes,
it does not clearly provide on what should be done in case somebody is aggrieved by the decision of the party, because of course every party has their own appeals board.
Yes.
So the first thing you'll do is to appeal the decision from the appeals board. You go now to the Political Parties Tribunal, from there High Court, and of course it's a long process, considering there are deadlines which have been set by the IBC.
Yes.
Yeah, because if by is it 26th of April? And of course for independence candidates they have by up to 9th of May.
Yeah.
So some people are already making their decisions, say, okay, because of time, and I can see my party is biased, let me rush to independent. So I think it is high time, all parties, and you saw the same thing in Kitui, for example, where the former governor was saying, the Wiper should know that I am popular, they should give me a direct nomination. Of course, every individual is fighting for their interest. But as they fight for their interest, they should understand that other people also have rights to also get that ticket of that particular political party. I think it's a matter of political parties also having proper mechanisms and structures of ensuring free and fair nominations.
Yes.
Because you see, many parties, and somebody was telling me the reason why ODM in 2007 won so many seats is because people who are being given tickets on merits. Because if, for example, you take somebody, you deny them a ticket because so and so has been very loyal, because those are the arguments which are being used. This person has been very loyal to the party.
Yes.
You must give them a direct nomination. They go to the ground. The person who has been famous was denied the ticket. They go to another party or they vie independent and they win. So I think it's also a choice for the party to also look at all these things. You have seen parties saying that they have been conducting opinion polls on the ground to determine who is the stronger candidate, and then now they use those polls to make a decision on who to give the ticket. I think as much as it is a discretion of the parties.
Yes.
Also, the people have a role to play. You have seen before in nominations, there was what we are calling universal suffrage, whereby anybody was to vote. But now with the new law, you must be a member of that particular political party. And maybe somebody can see on the ground, I did not manage to register many people to our party. So chances are, maybe the opponent went to the ground and they registered people to the party. So chances are I may lose. So you go to the party officials, you negotiate with them, you are given the ticket. So it's a matter of trying to sanitize the affairs of political parties.
Yes.
It is not easy.
But as much as that is happening, Doctor, you've been quite involved in party structures and party nominations and negotiations here and there for quite some time. There is also something new as we approach elections.
Victor, I think our people, as Kenyan people, we should actually understand and perhaps appreciate that party democracy is critical to the growth of our democracy as a nation.
The party democracy?
Internal party democracy is critical to the growth of democracy in our nation. The way parties conduct their business, because parties are the lowest institutions or grassroots institutions that should inculcate democratic values in the membership, and so to speak, in the entire nation. If we get it wrong at the political party level, then we have lost it. What I'm trying to say is that there are incubators for democratic values and practices. Now, complaints, when there are complaints from people, I think they should be listened to, because sovereignty, again, according to our constitution, is actually embedded in the people themselves. It's the membership. The party is for the members, not for the elite, not for those who manage the parties. And therefore, members should be given a chance. In some places where there is no, as my brother here, Katisia said, where there is one candidate, makes no sense. Someone gets a ticket. But when you have 3-4 candidates, and you give it to one on the basis of perhaps loyalty, I think it's wrong. We saw what happened.
Which again is not prescribed in party policies.
They have put those things. They have put those things in their party rules, nomination rules, and they have been registered. Those rules are registered with the register of political parties, and they passed those laws just recently in Parliament, the amendments. So it is actually legal to do so. But the question is, do those decisions supersede the will of the people? Yet the constitution rests, it's the people. It's the people. This democracy is about the people. It's not about those institutions. And one could wonder. And those are the issues that will be litigated even up to court at the high court level, by people. With people coming up and saying, okay, yeah, they are these. Why did you choose this and not the other? This disadvantaged me. Why did you pursue it? Because people want, in some cases, like in Homa Bay, they wanted nomination. They want to go to the ground and have their nominations done. You can have a way out. Kidero could have a way out. But what message does it send? That if you are favorite then to the party on the basis of loyalty, perhaps loyalty alone, you are given. Is that democracy? Are we saying that democracy is about loyalty and loyalty alone? Loyalty matters. Party loyalty matters. Victor, party loyalty matters, but it should not be the highest in the rank of reasons why parties should make certain decisions.
Yes.
Another thing, Victor, is in some parties, political parties, if you are nominated in particular areas, you are as good as having been elected.
Exactly.
So the stakes are very high.
Yeah, and that's why most of these candidates scramble for that coveted ticket.
If you get, for example, an ODM ticket in some areas, you might like 90% or 80 to 90%.
But is it necessary that way, more so when you go to the ground? Like when you have, people now complain that the issue of Mombasa, for example, Homa Bay County,
or
Kisii, yes. How does it affect the whole scenario in people's minds? That, okay, we gave Dr. Bosire direct nomination ticket, so it's now our turn to go to the ballot.
Yes.
How does it affect the common Mwananchi's decision then?
It's two ways. Either if people agree, or they could say, after all, okay, if they are a party, this is why I say dominance of a particular party. If most of them are from that particular party, and they will finally say, okay, because he's from our party, let us vote for this person in the final election in August, and the person will pass. But in some cases, on the other side of the coin, if they resent to that, they vote to other people.
Yes.
In fact, it happened in, I'll say in Kisii, Gusii land, that's Kisii County and Nyamira, when ODM did not get a single MP in 2017 elections, until the by-election was done in Bonchari just recently, because people resented to
so it was like a
the nomination
vote.
processes.
Yes.
Nomination processes.
Yeah.
I want to say something, Victor. There should be fair action. After all, there should be fair action, and this fair action is protected by the law. Someone can litigate and say there's no fair action that was done, therefore they can go. Because I believe, I'm not a lawyer, my brother here would respond, that the Constitution still is supreme and the written law is supreme to what they are doing on the ground.
Yes.
Someone can litigate on the basis of the Constitution and other laws that provide this protection. So, for instance, in Kisii, I wanted to say something in Kisii.
Right.
In Kisii, the one that has been given a ticket, people have a right to protest. Janet Tongera wanted to run for governor on ODM ticket.
Yes.
But they were outwitted by Simbarati. Simbarati is now the only candidate, so Simbarati could now get a nomination for ODM.
Okay.
Now, because of the bad blood, I could say, for lack of a better word, Janet, if she was subjected to the universal suffrage, members voting, she feared perhaps that she would not get the nomination, because she had already gone for governor position. She has retreated back to women representative, which other candidates had declared.
Yes.
And they started campaigning to be nominated as ODM candidates, and they have already marshaled support and registered members. Now, by getting that is a shot in the foot. It's the most painful thing in any given democracy to be done. So I think she must have feared and tried to influence the party that if those other people, Simbarati and others, campaigned on the ground because they're all ODM, then they might defeat her. She might not get the ticket because some of those women rep who had already made formations, they are associated with the Simbarati and others, and therefore they have a big block of votes. They would have defeated her in the universal suffrage.
And actually,
so that fear. Now, when they say it's loyalty, I think it's fear and influence. Fear then plus influence that Ongera has in the party, for a long time, that gave the ticket, not necessarily popularity. And the science they talk about doing the opinion polls.
Perhaps, correct me if I'm wrong, the same thing happened in 2017. Honorable Ongwae was given direct ticket. Honorable Ongeri was also given direct ticket by ODM, and Ongera as well. In fact, people say it was a triple O in Gusiland.
Yeah, the three got, but you see,
popularity has to happen again.
Popularity changes. Ongwae is leaving.
Right.
Ongwae has done his 2 terms as governor. He has also tried, let me say not perhaps, but he has tried to wield influence in pointing at who will succeed him.
Okay.
In fact, in the beginning, he wanted Janet Orongeri to succeed him as governor, but didn't work. So they are fighting actually from a lower position because these people are leaving already, as you mentioned. Professor Ongeri has moved to DAPK. Why? Because he saw he could not get nominated on ODM. Simba is ahead of them. Janet now jumped back to women rep, and she thinks she should also get the ticket and run. You can see the politics playing, the O's, maybe their time is up.
Let me bring in Dr. How free is free and fair nominations? I mean, this exercise. How free is, because already politicians are scrambled. And this is a discussion we've had here before, that a time will come that we'll see, politicians now coming out of their shell and saying, no, it's not the way we thought it was. How free is free and fair nomination?
I think what we are experiencing, although as far as this horse trading or bringing on board these people, let us discuss, let us allow one candidate to proceed. Actually, what they are trying to do is to manage the fallout in the event of a disagreement, a disagreed election results. And that one also will affect the party at the final election.
Yes.
And every party actually is eyeing to see that they minimize at most the disagreement that would be in the parties. And of course, managing also the election malpractices, especially in the court of law. And also having the limited time to the election period, it is something very difficult. And of course, we are also asking ourselves, how many of these parties are able to manage a credible election based on the kind of expertise, the scientific experience that all these parties may have actually experienced. So that is why we see all these things. But what I'm seeing, although, and that is my opinion, when you deny the universal suffrage, when you deny the people to vote for their rightful candidates, when you deny the people to determine who to be their leader, I think that to me it's an illegality, even if it is something that is negotiated. Because it is the people who will finally give the verdict. When you talk about giving depending on the polls results or whatever, polls results, what we have at the moment or low, you are told that today, as per our polls, this one is rating high. And these pollsters are already business people, and they may not be relied genuinely that they are telling the people the right thing. And if you based on the same results by selecting or appointing somebody that is the right person because of the polls results, you'll be doing a lot of injustice to the majority of Kenyans. I think the best approach is to have these people elected by the people themselves.
What if political parties just decide, what, we're not going to give direct nominations, either in some, some special cases where there's only one candidate in one particular region. For example, what ODM did in Kakamega, some of the MPs who defected, to ODM were given a direct ticket. Now that one, somebody would say was warranted. But then in this scenario where we have got 3 or 4 candidates, I mean...
When you look at it, like a Kakamega issue, you see there are those people who are in UDA and there are those people who are in ODM.
Exactly.
And this is a place where it is actually, the same seats will be hotly contested because the same parties have numbers in that place. So in this case, it is actually a strategy that these people are coming up, that if we have our 2 people competing, we may actually be defeated by the other guys. And of course, what they are trying to do is that let us have one person so that we can put all our resources actually in campaigning to that particular person to assure them of that seat. Because what the parties are now looking for is the number of seats that they will win in most of these places. Leave alone the presidential candidate who will win. but the number of seats that the individual parties will win at the final end is actually key to most of the even this the presidential contestants.
Right.
Because having numbers, even if let us say for example, if say Ruto will win today in the coming election, and Raila will be having the highest numbers of the members of parliament, members of the county assembly, members of the Senate, there is nothing that the president will do. It will still be stuck.
Yeah.
So, and that is why most of these people, they want to not only to win by the party, but they also have to win by the membership or those people who are actually contesting in their respective parties.
Yes.
So election is key to me.
Election is key. You know what, Wakili? Parties know very well the outcome, and they're so much aware of the simmering kind of tension from the grassroots. They have given direct nomination certificates to different, preferred candidates. But the party officials and the committees know very well the outcome. How then do you think they're going to manage such kind of disquiet? Because we are likely to see protest vote. Whatever happened in Migori County, for example, Governor Obado, who moved when he realized that it was not going to be okay in ODM, he moved to a different party.
Yes.
We are likely to see protest votes moving forward.
That is true.
Yes.
I wish there was a clear law requiring political parties. Yeah, once more than 2 people have expressed interest in that party's ticket, then there must be a nomination. There is no clear law to that effect. Yeah, it is upon the party to determine when to conduct a nomination and when to give a direct ticket. And I agree with Dr. Busiro on what he has said about the people may decide to punish these particular political parties.
Yes.
However, there are some regions where people say we vote in a suit. Everybody must belong to that political party.
Yes.
And of course, the parties will take advantage of that and reward their loyalists. And also remember, political parties mostly are funded by their members. Some of these loyalists could be now the main funders of the
bankrolling the parties.
Exactly. Yeah. So if you tell the party now to give them a direct ticket, then the party will ask you, do you have the money to conduct that nomination? So I think for the sake of democracy, and as you have correctly said, people in the grassroots, there is a lot of dissatisfaction. People are saying, this is the person we wanted. What happened? And you remember also, in a particular region,
yes,
you may have an opponent, maybe somebody in another political party, who wants the dominant party in that region to nominate a weaker candidate. What will they do? They will take their people to vote for that weaker candidate, so that now the weaker candidate gets the party ticket, and then now they can face them off in the main election and they win. So I think the political atmosphere on the nomination of political party is a very complicated one, and it's an issue which many of these political players they have to be smart and outwit the other.
Yes.
It's very interesting on the issue of what is happening in Kisii, for example, and it happens a lot in all other regions, all the way from the MCA level to the presidential level.
Yes.
Yeah, you saw what happened with the Jimmy Wanjigi when it came to the ODM nomination.
Presidential
for the presidential ticket. He was chased away, and he was claiming that he was a member of ODM. In fact, he was chased away in Migori when he was trying to open offices in Migori. Yeah, and nothing could be done, anything about that, because Raila kept quiet about the whole issue of Wanjigi, and it just faded off. Yeah, so I think party democracy is very important. And I think it is high time, even apart from now the political parties amendment act which was enacted the other day,
yes,
there needs to be other regulations to regulate how parties conduct their affairs. Because if I, as a owner of ODM, for example, I say, this ticket I'll give to this person, there's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
But there are those parties which embrace democracy, and they say, like in Getu where I come from, the former governor Malombe is asking for a direct ticket. No, he's been told, no, there's another person here, Ambassador Gema Kilonzo, who wants the same ticket. Let's go for the nomination. And it is high time that the leaders of those particular political parties must ensure that there is democracy in the management of the party affairs. So in my opinion, I think going forward, you may have a scenario whereby in a particular region, people will vote on basis of who they want.
Yes.
You can vote for a president of Azimio or Kenya Kwanza, vote for an MP of Safina, vote for an MCA of Independent.
Yes.
And you saw in 2017.
It goes back to personality, not parties now.
It goes back to personality.
Yeah.
And actually, that is what many people are even saying. When you come to urban areas like Nairobi and those other towns, you may find out that people don't vote based on parties. But now in the rural areas, and I think people now are beginning to wake up and they are voting for their own. And this idea of independent is an idea which has been bought by so many people. Somebody like Kidato can say, I'm not opposed to Raila. But since I missed the ticket, I'm independent, supporting Raila. And he may end up winning the seat.
Okay, you know what? Yes. When you see my director on the floor, it shows a lot. When you see my director on the floor, it shows a lot. Okay, Dr. As you respond to that, let me ask you this question again. We are likely to see a lot of independent candidates come August, based on what's happening on the nominations right now, right?
Yes, actually, the law, the amendment bill
has given them that freedom.
Yeah, it has given them freedom. It has a period within which, is it 3 months? You can, after nomination, you can jump into independent. Yeah, you know, and it's going to happen. And what will chase people into the independent candidates position is actually nominations.
Yes.
Nothing else. Even nominations are not properly done, those who are dissatisfied, they remove to independent. Some of them will win. And perhaps if they are popular candidates, then we shall see so many independents in parliament, which is another dilemma.
That's another dilemma,
for
legislation.
To govern on that basis. I want to mention something. Party capacity to manage their own nomination processes. I think they should, a party like ODM has been alive for quite a while.
For 17 years.
KANU has been alive since independence, or prior to independence. Why these parties cannot do free and fair nominations or build capacity to do their nominations? That one I don't understand. And you're not doing the nominations one single day across the country. So you can stagger it and do within certain regions within a particular time. And it can be properly done. And this capacity is there. Government, for example, my brother here, Katisha, talked about funding. The funders of the parties, we agree, but parties are also receiving funding from the public coffers. We have public funding of political parties. The aim of funding political parties from the public coffers is actually to make sure that the parties are depersonalized.
Yes.
They're not people's property in their pockets.
It's a national institution.
They have the office, they pay their rent, they do everything, they fund all those activities. And now, as we speak, nominations are very expensive. Nomination fees are high. They can use those resources to be able to conduct nominations where there are contentions, so that they can have proper nomination. So they shouldn't actually give tickets, parties should not give tickets for people who have funded heavily the parties, because then democracy is for the highest bidder. And then that is how we lose it. When these people go to parliament, are they going to represent the people, or are they going to represent party leaders who have given them the tickets? Personality politics actually undermines, I would say, personal politics undermines strengthening of political parties, which is the thing that we expect to happen progressively. By now, since perhaps 2002, 20 years ago, our parties should be stronger to be able to do nominations above board. They should be able to have developed systems of accountability and all that. Now we demand, or the law demands, that nominations are done by people, members registered, because they have deposited their registers with the registrar of political parties. They should be able to have their own members participate. So there should be no fear. It's internal party democracy, internal party nominations. No one from another party is going to vote, for example, in ODM. The ground has been done, the laws are there, but I think the players are the ones who have refused.
You know what, gentlemen? The same way you are, please. we'll have this discussion next week on Monday, because a lot is going to happen this week and we're going to see more. The same way, the same setup. Promise me that you will be here with me on Monday.
Amen.
All right. Thank you so much. We're speaking to Dr. Richard Busire, lecturer at the University of Nairobi of Political Science and a political commentator. We have got Wakili Kevin Katisia joining us for the first time. Promise we'll be back again.
I'll be back again.
Asante sana.
Thank
and
you.
Dr. Joseph Rotich, who is also with us here every single morning. Thank you so much, gentlemen.
Thank you so much.
There was, I'm sorry, gender parity. I didn't balance that. I promise to do it next time. Let's take a break. We'll be right back.
The management, staff and students of Mary Shaw School wish to convey our congratulatory message to the KCPE candidates on their well-deserved success. Well done and congratulations on passing the 2021 KCPE exams.
Mimi sieti nakupenda na kuhurumia tu.
Unavyolia sana ni kama omboleza. Sio vizuri.
Mimi sitaki maneno mengi, lakini kama ukijua kila mtu atarudi alipotoka. Bali umefanya nini? Sivyo unavyofikiria kaka.
Your talent, dedication and hard work have led you to victory. Mary Shaw School, home of the boy child.
Mwongo mmoja umekamilika.
Obe mami ntogaki.
Twarejea kwa udi na uvumba. Kwa vishindo si haba.
Speak English.
Nderemo na vifijo. Tulia tuli. Maana mambo si kama kawaida tena. Kwani kupitia runinga yako ya KBC ushapata tarehe. Vitimbi kila Jumatatu jioni saa 1:35. Usikose.
Log on to the KBC website at www.kbc.co.ke to get the latest breaking news, entertainment, sports, politics, lifestyle or business trends from Kenya and around the world. Never miss new episodes from your favorite TV shows, reruns and movies. Just stream online or watch live on your YouTube channel at KBC Channel 1 TV shows. For the day's biggest stories, trustworthy news and family entertainment, log on to KBC Channel 1. Watch what you want anytime, anywhere.
Tell me now. Who's that woman? Jack, I'm telling you. Don't forget you have a wife, and your only son Sean is waiting for you at home.
Jack has taken the bait too. Everything is going the way we want.
Come to revenge. She's the one that's been having an affair with Jack. That's extremely shameful of her.
Mundos divididos por una sombra de traición.
Don't ever insult her again if you don't want me to rip what's left of your face.
Yeah, why don't you try?
What do you know about this planned development with some investors in Costa Alegre Bay?
I don't trust that woman, much less any business she brings in.
It would mean a lot to me if I know that you're not against it.
Dorothy Nielsen was in fact murdered. And from the looks of it, it seems her body was dumped just a few hours after she died.
Lying heart. Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Mimi si eti nakupenda na kuhurumia tu.
Unavyolia sana ni kama omboleza, sio vizuri.
Mimi sitaki maneno mengi, lakini kama ukijua kila mtu atarudi alipotoka.
Kwani mtu hawezi kunisaidia mpaka iwe nimemhonga ama kumtishia?
Bali umefanya nini? Sivyo unavyofikiria kaka.
Umeona Laban tu wewe? Lea, yule ndo mwenzangu.
Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us this far. We do appreciate your company, and we also would love to know where you're watching us from. So why don't you go ahead and check in via our various social media platforms. The official hashtag on Twitter is Good Morning Kenya. Our official station handle across all the social platforms is at KBC Channel 1. My handle is Jane Wamboy. So today on our family conversation, we're going to be talking about something that is still very ripe in the air, and this is in line with the KCPE results that were put out in the past week. Now, each child got what they got, and the aftermath that comes after the results is what so many families don't get to share. So today we're going to be focusing on how to manage those results, and especially so if you are among the group or your child is among the group that did not get the grade or the marks that they were hoping to get, and they are disappointed, or you as a parent are disappointed. How do you navigate these waters to ensure that both you and your child are able to move forward from this particular time in life, this event? And to help us with this conversation, we have two ladies. Victor was apologizing for gender parity issues previously. We go the whole 9 yards here. Here we have two ladies with us, an all-female panel today. I'll start with Catherine Carrera, who is a teen youth mentor. Good morning, Catherine.
Good morning, Jane.
Karibu sana.
Thank you.
We also have Mercy Chege, who is a mental health advocate. Good morning, Mercy.
Good morning, Jane.
Karibu sana.
Asante.
All right. So again, questions, comments, clarification, we absolutely welcome them, and we will be addressing them as and when they do come in. So before we even get further in, Mercy, the previous discussion we were talking about activities that we can involve kids during this holiday, and I understand you have a mentorship program that has been ongoing. How's that coming along?
Wow, that is interesting. It is amazing.
Yes.
You involve them in different activities where they have to experience. How we run our programs is you teach them in class and then they do them practically. If it is maybe camping, you teach about camping and then they go camping. If it's about hike, you teach about a hike and then they go hiking. Even the normal stuff of the soft skills. If it's about how to help at home, the chores, ways, not just theory.
Theory and practical.
Yes.
You're taught to go practice it.
Yes.
And what about you, Catherine? Because I know you're also very big when it comes to mentoring the teen and the youth. What are some of the activities that you have been engaging the youth?
There's a group that I'm doing every Friday.
Yes.
This Friday is going to be the 4th one. And Jane, they are telling me hilarious things and very sad things.
Yes.
I spoke to the young ones and they told me when they are doing kalongolo, they do sex. But the first time they thought it was one of their play games. But now because I speak forthright, the second one they said, Madam, atufanyi ile kalunguru baya. So I'm empowering them. I'm giving them 3 things: information, fact, and warning. because our children think that sex is a play game, and because nobody tells them about sex, they think they want to venture, and it is very, very tempting. So we are empowering them, doing close follow-ups, and then also reaching out for thanks to technology. So I have quite a number of people that are mentoring online. Some are telling me my mother leaves me alone and they go drinking for the night. Some are suffering attempt rape. The situation on the ground is not very good, but again, there's a lot of hope.
There is a lot of hope because, these are some of the things that we sort of expected, given the long holiday. Kids will be at home, they will be exposed to so many people and different environments. So that is why we like having these conversations that touch on kids. Now let's come to the topic of conversation today. KCPE exams results were put out in the past week, and we have seen the top students come out to celebrate. But whenever we are having national results being put out, we always celebrate those that did well. And there's always the category that, were at the middle and those that did not perform as well as expected. Before we even get to the different categories, let me start with you, Catherine. Your just general view when it comes to how we appreciate or view exam results, not even just being KCPE or KCSE.
What I want to tell each one of us is that exam is not the end of life. It's actually a stage to the next level, and it's very good for us to celebrate. You can imagine if you score 428 and we tell you to tone down and you feel like you have done it all, we need to celebrate. But again, as we celebrate, we don't want to forget those that have scored a few 60s, 70s. So we need to be able to encourage all of them. And I want to say 5 things as I start so that I can be able to reach the student and reach the parent. Number 1, that child is a gift from God. Regardless of what marks they scored, they are a gift from God. Number 2, that child is yours. That one that has got 65, they are your child. Number 3, which I find very powerful, is that even that water, Jane, is usable. So we cannot demean the child because they have gotten little marks. I normally say it's called fewer. We need to know that even that water can be used to put off fire, can be used to wipe more dust, can be thrown out there. So no child is useless. Number 4, we need to give these children and parents a lot of hope. The word of God tells me, and hope does not disappoint. Number 5, even that one that had 65 and the one that scored 428, when we go into Form 1, all of us are going to start at the same pace. So what our children need to know, and our parents, is 3 things. That as they go in on the next step of life, they need a lot of faith, they need a right attitude, and they need effort. Exam is not the end of life. Exam is a stage to the next level. So we need to encourage our students, we need to encourage our parents. And Jane, me, I was never celebrated, but now I celebrate myself. When I did my CP, there was no KCP at our time. I scored not very well.
Yes.
I scored 27 out of the possible 36. But look at where I am now because of putting an extra effort. So children, mommy, I want to tell you that the results that were announced last week, that is now a past. What we need to do is soldier on, knowing that we can change our future by making decisions that defend our destiny.
All right. Now, let me come to you, Mercy. Still on the same when it comes to your general view on how we perceive exam results and the weight that we give to them, looking at our country, our setup, our cultural background, and what role they have to play in that.
Thank you, Jane. About the outcome of the exam, look at it like this. The exam is usually done by 3 people: the student, the teacher, and the parent. All these 3 people have expectations. And when we are looking at the expectations, we forget to look at some things. You've talked about our country. Like this particular exam, we forgot to look at the time children were home for almost a whole year.
Yes.
Did they get a proper transition back to class? Did they get? Not everyone got that proper transition back to class. So some of them were still struggling to come back to class. When they were just picking to come back to class, here is the exam. And because maybe most of them were not well prepared, it does not mean even the ones who failed, they are not in a good place to perform. It is the circumstances around and surrounding us. So that is why we should not gauge with the exams how we are. That is not the right thing. Let me tell you, I saw a school that does so well all the time. I know because I always see them celebrating in the estate. This time, they only had 1,400. Usually they have quite a lot. But what did they do? They chose to celebrate as well. They did exactly how they do it. And even those students, they know they did their best. So that is how we should approach it. Let us know we all did our best. And if someone did do their best, like what Catherine have said here, we are all going to Form 1. We are starting at a level ground. No, even if you had 400 and the 64 she's talking about, here we are. We are starting afresh. So let us, each and every person, look at it from their level. This is me, this is how I did, this is the challenges I had, this is where I was coming from, this is what I had done, not like collectively. You say, this group didn't perform well, don't put them in a bundle. Let it be individualized. Let encourage that person individually. And even the ones who did so well, this is where they go to high school with so very good marks, and then they do so badly because they were so celebrated, they became so overconfident, they forgot they are all starting at the same level. Yes.
All right. And I think at this point it would be right to put out a disclaimer. This is not meant to be a discriminative discussion against those who that did well. This is meant to be an informative and encouraging session for the families that could be going through a hard time, that can be pointed back to the exam results that were put out. And you have rightfully mentioned the aspect of acceptance, and I want us to get to the next part of this conversation and looking at the steps that we can take now that the results are out. We have gotten what we have got. And the first thing that most people struggle with is accepting, I've gotten these marks. You know, even if you did so well, be like, yo, I got this. It's still very surreal to you, and others are like, I got this, you know. Let me come to you, Catherine. Why is it important to make sure that the first step that you take is to accept whatever results you have gotten?
In life, we all have our expectations.
And maybe we can also talk about the parents in this case.
Okay. In life, we all have our expectations. And by the way, those expectations can lead to a lot of disappointment. If we can look at what we got just as a stage and a step to the next level, that will help us. Because even if we sat there, we sulked and we cried all the way, that marks is not going to change. So the sooner you accept it, the better. Jane, I want to tell the parents there that we are all gifted, but gifted differently. Even those that have scored well, as my colleague has said, they may go to school and they are so ballooned, they forget that they are going to work hard. So what I want to tell our parents is we need to understand who our children are. And God has given us a task in life. A task is a short word with 4 letters, T. There's a talent in every child. So even if the child has not excelled in exam, that does not make them a failure in life. We develop this child wholeheartedly and all round. There's a task, there's a talent in every child. And the reason we are calling them to go into Form 1, that's why we're emphasizing and say they are going to start together, is because, again, these children have an ability. And the more we get exposed in life, the more our abilities get empowered and we get to know more things. Then they have a skill. And these skills don't work for us until we work on our skills. So parents, what we need to do is encourage our children and help them acquire the knowledge. I know, Jane, there are some teenager mothers that have been calling them to go back to school, and they have done very well. One of them has scored 346. So what we are telling our parents and our children is, just because kikombe imevujika sio mwisho ya kunywa chai. We push them and we encourage them to go on. And parents, I want you to reflect at what I have said, that we are gifted but gifted differently. The same way we have 5 fingers in one hand, but all these fingers are different size, are different different height. That is how our children are. Then we need to remember that these children are fighting a lot of battles. Some are unseen, where I normally call peer pressure not to be pure. So what we need to do is we give them an environment that is very, very friendly at home as a launching pad, so that when they go to school, they know they have an appointment with their destiny. We tell them, Mommy, I always want to ask, what did you score? And you remember our times, the peer pressure was not as high as now. So these children are also fighting for their space. They have a lot of internet, they have a lot of friends, they have a lot of lifestyle issues to choose from. So we must make sure that we help these children. We slow down and we walk with them. They have an appointment with their destiny. Parents, I want to tell you this. Just because your children scored lower marks that doesn't make them a failure in life. Even that one is feeling so discouraged. I know Saturday I was speaking in one function and the young man had scored 394 and he was still complaining. I want to say that in life we'll always want to have higher than where we are, and it's very good to aim higher than we are, but we must make sure that we don't allow our disappointment to turn us to be disappointed. What we need to do is be very careful, articulate the disappointment so that we can make it an appointment.
All right. Now, you've mentioned something that's quite hilarious. You know, our parents always tell us they were number one throughout their entire academic life. But let me come to you, Mercy. You know, as an advocate when it comes to mental health, wellness, and especially still looking at the kids, we always hear parents saying, I know you are a student. No, lipata bia Mercy. You know you are a 400 candidate. Now, lipata 350. Nini happened. When it comes to the importance of parents actually accepting what the children got.
Wow. Now this one, I'll answer this with 3 A's.
Go for it.
This is what happens. First of all, let me say change is inevitable. Things just happen. So when it comes, maybe your child was doing well and they've not done exactly what you were expecting. The first A, accept. When you accept, you admit, accept, you are able to accept that this is happening. It is here. It is here. And when you accept, you're able to work with this child. Instead of demoralizing them, you're able to encourage them. You're able to even now tell them, I know this was not maybe what you expected, but you can do better. Once you do that, because when you accept, it stops you from making them feel like they've done wrong. So once you accept, you're able to move. The second one is adjust. And this is for both the parent and the child.
Yes.
Once you accept, you're able to adjust. Why did we do this? Did we do it wrong? Where did we go wrong? Two of you. It can never be, not one side is wrong. We are never actually wrong. We are all, it is life. Life is happening. So if you find we could have done better here, we go back, we find out what did we do here, what do we have, what do we have right now. Once you accept, you're able to adjust and use the most of it that you have right now. So once you accept and adjust, the adjustment can be some of them comes with a lot of pressure, because it means now we have to stop some privileges, you have to do this. Even the parent, they have to come in, you have to make some changes, and remember, change can be devastating, so you have to be, transitions should be handled with care.
Yes.
Then after accepting and adjusting, you will advance. That one comes automatically. But if you get stuck from not accepting, you will delay the adjustments and you will get more disappointments, because you will not advance.
Now, for those who do not advance, most of them, now moving to the next aspect, is the aspect of comparing.
Yeah.
And this is especially from the parents. Parents, we are guilty of this. And especially when it comes to pitting the children against each other, maybe a brother or a sister. Or your brother got this, why didn't you get that? Not learning to not compare as part of actually accepting and moving forward with what your child has gotten during this national exam. Still looking at the mental wellness aspect.
I like the comparing, but I always tell them, there is one comparing that I really love. Compare this person with who they were yesterday, not with somebody else. Because if you compare, we have just been told we are all gifted differently. So if you compare, we can even use an animal. If you compare a fish and a monkey, until they want to climb a tree, what are you doing? You know very well that fish cannot climb a tree, or a monkey, that is what it does every day. So if you want to compare the fish, tell it, yesterday you did not swim so fast, so today swim faster. That way you are going to help this child. Don't compare them. Compare them with themselves. Don't compare them with anyone else. Don't compare them with what someone else had done. Instead,
or even yourself.
Or even yourself. Actually, ourselves. You have said we used to be number one all the time. Yeah, there is a story that goes around. The one that one day a child collected a report form, and then they were like, with this report form, who got these marks? And the person was like, no. How can you get this kind of marks? And then the child is telling the dad, look at it very closely. This is your name. Yeah? So he's like, you've been number one all my life, but your report form, I have it here. it says otherwise. Yeah. So let us not compare them even with us. Our times were different.
Yeah.
These times are different. Everything has changed. Let us compare them with who they were. Even in the morning. In the morning, you are not able to read a whole page. Can you try in the afternoon to just read another page?
Okay.
And I'll tell you, there is one student. This student, he always tells me to tell his story. He was doing so badly in school. There is a time he got 4% in a subject. And he was so devastated. But he kept on being devastated. One day, the way we go to talk to schools, someone talked and gave the 3 A's. He's the one actually who gave me the 3 A's. He was given the 3 A's. He told me, I used the 3 A's and my life changed. So I told him, how did you use the 3 A's? I accepted I'm struggling in this and this subject. And I was like, yes, I am struggling. So I was like, I need to adjust. So I asked him, how did you adjust? He told me, I had to join a group of people who used to work so hard and they used to be labeled machopi, not good names. So I had to sacrifice being labeled, but I had to adjust. I had to adjust my entertainment time in half of the, if it is 1 hour, 30 minutes, I had to. Let me tell you, he came from getting an E, because 4% is an E, and now he's a B student. So, and that's it. He had to adjust. He had to accept, adjust, and now he had to advance. Yes.
Now, let me come to you, Catherine. Still looking at that aspect of comparing, and as parents, you know, kama mzazi, you feel you have a right to say, I've taken you to the best school, you and your brother, I put you in the same school, I provided you with the same everything, lakini huyu anakushinda kwa masomo, mbona hungepata kama huyu?
Let me say that we are all wired very differently. Yeah. And Jane, I would want to say that all of us would want to be number one. But practically speaking, it's not possible because the nitty-gritties of everybody's body is different, even the way our minds work. So what I want to tell parents is, yes, we can compare, but I want you to get the next one, that life is more by grace than grades. But we need all the grades and the grace to make it in life. Jane, when I was in school, they called me Bikuoma. And I owned my books all through, but now they watch me. What I want to tell parents is, just because your child is not performing like the other child, that doesn't make them a dad ahead. There's still a lot of hope. What you need to do with that child is realize who they are and then fund them up. Keep encouraging them at their level to do their very best. And as long as they have done their very best, as long as they have the right attitude, I'm sure they are going to excel. Comparison is a thief of creativity, and comparison can even bring siblings rivalry because they feel hated and the other one is more appreciated. What you need to do is compare our child with themselves and set a pace for each one of us. Try to understand that child so that again we don't push them to depression and then we ask Nina to bow you mtoto. So what parents we need to do is get to realize that all our children are a gift from God. They are all gifted differently and everyone has their own strength. So we dig and we drill down to understand what are the strengths in this one. Then we'll be able to bring them up on the strength. However, that doesn't mean we stop educating them at class 8 because they don't have strength. We take them on. The word of God which I'm holding this morning tells me that always remember what you have learned. Your education is your life. So these children need to understand that this education is their life and they need to soldier on, being pressed to do their very best. When I look at the word best, Jane, I look at it as an acronym where B tells me B, E tells me excellent, as skillful and teachable. So we make sure that we tell our children they can be excellent, skillful and teachable with the right attitudes.
With the right attitude, and that comes with talking it out. And that is the next aspect that we're going to be looking at, but that will be coming up after we take this very quick breather. So do stay with us. We will be right back.
fuera de traición.
Don't ever insult her again if you don't want me to rip what's left of your face.
Yeah, why don't you try?
What do you know about this planned development with some investors in Costa Alegre Bay?
I don't trust that woman, much less any business she brings in.
It would mean a lot to me if I know that you're not against it.
Dorothy Nielsen was in fact murdered. And from the looks of it, it seems her body was dumped just a few hours after she died.
Lying heart.
Fue sembrando el veneno y la ambición.
Thank you for continuing being with us here on Good Morning Kenya. This is Family Check, and today we're just focusing on how we can manage the anxiety that comes with the exam results that were recently put out last week, and we just want to share with you informative steps that you can take to help you navigate these waters as a parent, as a child, and also as a teacher. We are using the hashtag Good Morning Kenya on Twitter. At KBC Channel 1 is our official station handle. My handle is at Jade Mumboy, and I see Kezia saying this is a very vital conversation. We need to tell parents they need to speak better with their children when it comes to the results. Yes, some may be disappointed, but how you speak to your children really matters. And this actually brings me to the next point that I want us to focus on, and it's the aspect of talking it out. Because as a parent, sometimes you're quick to speak out of anger. Mtoto akikukasirisha saa zingine anakujanga na mbaya, and you are quick to react. And also results are a very emotive matter. Let me start with you, Catherine. When it comes to fine, you have accepted. Number 2, you're not comparing your child. And number 3, you're trying to talk it out with your child. But in some way, you also might find yourself comparing them to another child or another sibling. How do you suggest we go about talking it out with our children based on the results that they got, and especially if they didn't do as well as you as a parent and the child were expecting?
Thank you. Let me say this. First of all, be realistic. Be realistic. If your child has been performing at this level, maybe an average student, and you are expecting them to do like the A students, now that is not being realistic. If they have been doing at a certain level and that is where they are, you can't just now start telling them you didn't do well. This is the time we tell them you did the best you could, but you can do better. Let us keep encouraging them. Last time when we were talking, we talked about what you water, it will grow. If you keep on encouraging them and showing them how they can and doing the adjustments that they need to do for them to get better, they will get better. But if you keep on telling them they have not done anything, or maybe you keep on bringing them down, trust me, that is what is going to happen. They will always have anxiety. They will always feel like they are not enough. Instead of focusing, they will continue looking at themselves like we cannot do it. So let us encourage them and use the right words. One of the things I usually tell parents to do and the students is focus. What is your focus? The focus is your child. So many times we focus on the education and you forget the child. This is the child who is going to perform. How are they themselves? Where are they in their life? Maybe there are other things that are not making them perform, but you have all your energy, you focused it on the performance, forgetting the child. Where is your focus? Know where your focus is. And the child, where is your focus? Is your focus at the education or any something else? You have to know. Again, when at this level, children don't know how to differentiate their gifts, their talents, and what they're supposed to do. It is the work of the parent to know this. The time for talent is this is the time we do this is the time for education, this is the time for this. We mix them so up and we end up messing the child. They come out not being the best, not because they are not the best, but because we did not guide them the way they should be guided.
Beautiful. I like that aspect of being realistic, because sometimes we tend to not be realistic. Let me come to you, Catherine. Also, when it comes to speaking to children, and especially being a teen mentor and understanding the impact that words have on our children, and especially when they come from the parent.
Parents, I want us to know what words are. They can be a tool or a weapon. A tool to bring them up, or a weapon to destroy them. And I said we want to give each one of us hope. And hope does not disappoint. Parent, I want you to make sure that you use words not to demean the child, but to water the children and bring a lot of hope in it. And Jane, you know, they called me a bookwormer. And at the end of the day, now they sit and admire me. Madam, Mom, I want to tell you, just because your child has scored low on KCPE, that is not the end of life. There is still hope. And Jane, as a teens mentor, I normally talk to children from things that they can relate to with. When you enter into a house, there's a roof. The roof always tells us aim very high. So as these children, Mommy, you need to tell them to keep aiming very high. Then there's a mirror. They need to reflect before they take any action, because I know very soon they are going to Form 1. So Mommy, I'm giving you words that you can use to tell your child. Then there's a calendar that tells us up to date but do not date, so that even as they struggle with their grades and they go into high school, they're not going to start dating and get more confused. Then there's the door that tells you push very hard to your destiny. So Mommy, what we need to do is do what we did at birth. We all gave birth through one area, push. We pushed. So what we need to do is use that word push on our children, where push is telling us persist until something happens. Mommy, your words are alive. Death and life are in the power of the tongue. So use your words to water these children, not to demean these children. Then also you tell them, look at the window. As far as you can see, that is what you can get. And for you children, as you go into Form 1, there are a lot of hurdles that you need to pass by. But for parents, I also want you to look back and remember, even from the day you're making that child, that seed won. You can imagine how many seeds were competing to become the baby that won. So many children died before they were born. Others fell off the education lane, but yours persisted until where they are. So what you're going to do is we hold them. We bear the shame if there's any. We own the blame. We say, yes, it is true, it's called too, but look at our future, because our tomorrow story is in the hands of God. And you know, Jane, we forget that we have people that are called slow learners. And I thank God for CBC, because CBC is now going to help the slow learners. You could be pushing your child to bring in an A, and they cannot. So you need to be able to take them at their level and push them to do the very best. Remember, I have said, even when we are delivering, we are told push by the doctor. We need to tell our children, persist until something happens. Let us use our words very well. You have a choice, as a weapon or as a tool.
As a weapon or as a tool. Now, let's move on to the next aspect, and this is understanding that you still have options.
Yeah.
Because that is also another area that, and especially the parents struggle with, like sasa utenda shule gani, and nilikuwa nataka uende hii na hii na sasa juwezi enda hii utenda shule gani. When it comes to mapping out your options with your child in a healthy manner, as opposed to telling them sasa jujenda ujapata nilikuwa nataka utaenda huku, because that is where that is in line with the results that you got, but limiting them to one option, and yet they have so many other options. When it comes to mapping out your options with your child, how do you advise parents to go about this, Mercy?
This one, I would love them to do this. First of all, look at this child. Let them understand who they are. Let them understand who they are. Let them understand what is happening. Let them understand they have a responsibility to take the care of their lives. Yeah, they have to. This is called transitioning, because now they are coming from the primary level to the secondary level. After they understand this is who I am, let them know where am I coming from. The reason why I'm here is because I didn't manage to go here. So where am I coming from? Let's even look at their background. Allow them to understand everything, and from there they will be able to make choices. They will be able to make the most of what they have right now. Instead of looking at what they missed, they'll start taking the best they have now. And this is why you see the children who didn't score very well, they go to school and they score very well, because they know this is what I have, this is who I am, this is where I'm coming from, and this is where I want to go. So what do? They focus. Once they go to school, they're able to focus. It's follow one course until successful. They know I've come to school to learn. So after they understand, this is who I am, I'm coming from this this is where I'm coming from, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to focus on my education. It's only 4 years. And that way, you're going to help them to go to the next level. They know that we didn't get this, but we can get where we want to go by using what we have.
Your thoughts on the same, Catherine, allowing your child to actually see the options that they have as opposed to just limiting them because they got this, you don't give them options.
Thank you, Jane. As Mercy said, let us be realistic.
Yeah.
Look at the report form for your child from when they went at class. If they have never scored at 250, I know God works miracles, but you do not expect that 250 never achieved to get us to 350. So that again, we don't take them to a school that is too high for them. They are going to get lost. We take them to a school at their level, and there are very many options. Yes, we might not all get to the government schools, but there are private schools that are also very pocket friendly. We take them there. But again, as we are saying, the teacher, the children and the parents, we all did the exam, but the child is the one that's now going to go to high school. So that now we take them to a school that is not going to be so strenuous on them, but again we take them telling them you have an appointment with your destiny. And this is what the word of God says. Jane, I speak by the word. If your goals are good, you will be respected, but if you're looking for trouble, that is what you're going to get. So this child knows I have goals in life. What are my goals? Goal number one for you, child, regardless of the marks that you got, is to make sure that you better it. Even if you don't better it, do not lose it. Then parents, we make sure that we fund them up to get to their destiny. And when you look at that goal, I want to say it to you children as an acronym. G tells me go, N-O tells me on, A tells me avoid, L tells me laziness. Go on, avoid laziness. Look at yourself, child, and ask yourself a good question. Did I score what I scored because I deserved it? Was that the very best I did? And if it was not the very best you did, there's always room for improvement. You make sure that you're so glued to improving yourself so that you're not going to get distractors, because as we advance in life, more distractors come, so that you can always do the same thing. I'm telling you that you have an appointment with your destiny. And parents, I want to tell you, failing an exam does not make you a failure in life. There's still a lot of hope. And Jane, I want to emphasize again, and hope does not disappoint. Our children have not performed very well, but there is still hope. And then again, as you go into high school, make sure you don't go and sit with people that perform the same with you. Look for somebody that can pull you up. Look for somebody in that class that can mentor you. But again, as you get mentored, make sure you avoid tormentors, because you can get there with your 400, with your 319, and you find yourself scoring nothing because you went into the wrong team. So parents, we hold our children, together we walk, and together we shall get better.
How do you encourage these kids to stay ambitious? Because that is also another aspect that they really struggle with, based on the results that they got. Like, okay, fine, I got this, so what more is there for me? How do we encourage these kids to also stay ambitious in line with the dreams that they have for themselves? Mercy?
The best way is to remind them that they're all coming at the same level. When we go to Form 1, it doesn't matter the person who came with the highest or the lowest. We all started Form 1. One of the things I usually tell them is, you are coming from the highest class from primary school, but here you are coming to the lowest class in high school. So that is where we are starting there. Let us all start here. And once you start there, if you don't lose focus here, you will be fine. This is a very good encouragement, and even teachers know how to do it. When the children come, they know how to put them in their level, and they even know how to, when they are gauging them, they keep on gauging them from how they came and how they are going to help them and get better. Yeah, so keep encouraging them. That is, whatever they got in primary school, it ends here. Let us all start afresh, and then we keep on going.
Now, Catherine, I'd like for you to speak to parents when it comes to also giving these kids time. We give them so much pressure, like unaingia Form 1 sasa, you know you need to perform. You don't even give them time to adjust to the many more subjects that they're taking on. You just expect them to go there. If you got 400 in your KCPE, ukifika huko, I want straight A's in everything. Understanding that as a parent, you need to give your child time to also adjust.
We need also to be very realistic once again. This child is coming from primary school where they had children from the same neighborhood. Some of them are going to national school. They are going to find children from everywhere in Kenya. Some that have various, others do not have various. Some that are of the same religion, others do not even believe that there is a God in heaven. So parents, what we need to do is we draw a graph for our children and our expectations, so that we can be able to be realistic and tell them, we expect you to move from point 1 to point 2. And then children, you must own the process by believing and becoming better every day. And parents, we need to draw an action plan for our children. I normally call it stages A to F, where a child has an action to do every day. And this action, again, it depends on the behavior and the character of the child in school. We have an action, we have behavior, we have character in school, then we have D, a lot of discipline. Because without discipline, we cannot be successful in life. Then E, there is a lot of enthusiasm in it. The child should be able to visualize the person they want to become in life, so that you can be able to see, I want to become that madam, that nurse, or I want to become the Jane of KBC then. So that every day that image disturbs you and that image propels you to go on. Then F, a lot of faith. Parents, we must have a lot of faith in our children. And you know, children easily give in to their friends, because as teenager, the best thing that you want to do is belong. And the word friends, we see it has eds at the end. So parents, we must make sure we also now become not only a parent but a friend to them, so that we can be checking every day. And when we see the graph is going down, we need to ask, we need to apply the skill like normally said, we have eyes that are hearing. Because Jane, I don't want us to sit here and deny that it's not going to be bumpy when they go into high school. They might go there and get homosexuality. The other day we had our CS talk about the same, so that this child, when they come home, you ask them everything, what happened in school, where, because we lose our children not in Form 1 but in Form 2, so that we can be able to journey together with them. Remember, I have given you the ABF, where we have an action for the child every day, where this action is driven by behavior, where this behavior is driven by character, where this character is driven by discipline, where this discipline is driven by the enthusiasm in them, the vision. They want to visualize who they are. Then we have faith in them, and we have faith in the system. Then we are going to deliver our children, because I don't want to lose our children by just getting grades A's. Jen, I normally say, we can get all the grades, but we can be clever devils.
We can be clever devils. Now, how do we also help our children work on their shortcomings? In as much as they also did get very good results, they did get everything. And if they didn't get very good results, they still have their fair share of shortcomings. As a parent, now that you are preparing your child to move on to the next level of education, and this is high school, which comes with its own fair share of challenges. I remember high school was a whole experience. How do we help our children work on their own shortcomings? Because, and especially for most of them, who will be going to boarding schools? Mercy.
I'll start where Catherine talked about, be a friend to your child. How do you help your child if you don't know what is happening to them? One, when you become a friend to your child, they'll open up to you. So their challenges, you will know them firsthand, and you'll be able to help them. Number two, help them change their attitude. Some of them, the attitude they have, even like now going to Form 1, they already feel like it is away from home. Yeah, most of them. Let me talk about the ones who have a chance to go to the camps before they go to secondary school. In these camps, they are taught how to transit. They are taught how to handle school change. They are taught how to do things on their own. The ones who don't, they need to have someone to work with them, because the transition, if it doesn't happen so well, the challenges will keep on continuing, because change is inevitable. Yes. And it is happening so fast. So if this child is not able to transit here, and how can you help this child transit? It's becoming a friend. One, the only important things in teens, they just want to be listened. We usually think they are rebellious, they are bad people, but just listen to a teen. You will be so shocked. Listen and listen with, Catherine talks about eyes that hear, the touch that listens, all those. If you listen like that, you will get them at the right time. and you'll be able to adjust their mindset. If they were thinking it is too tough, they'll be able to understand, no, this is a stage. It is not tough, it is just a stage, and they'll be able to handle it. As a parent, again, this is the time you come to their level, not in your thinking and everything, but so that you reach them to where they are. Because if you keep on talking to them like this, you're still commanding them. So they'll keep on rebelling to you. Come to their level, know what they like. When I say a friend, hang out with them, have some games with them, so that they understand we are all able to talk to each other. It is not only you telling me don't do. Another thing, we only tell them what not to do, especially the part of sexuality. Yeah, another day we were talking to teens, and they only told us we asked them, what has your parent ever told you about sexuality or sex? Most of the girls said they were told boys are bad. Boys are not bad. Because you see, that information has not been given very well. If you just give them boys are bad, you have to. Catherine talks about giving information, warnings, and educating them. Let us talk to them the way it should be. Boys, if it is telling them about their sexuality, it's not that boys are bad. Tell them, why are we saying this? Let them understand. They totally understand. So let us not tell them what to do, but tell them what to do. These boys, how do you handle them? What is the stage you should know? Here, I'm going too far. Yeah? In the stage of affection, it talks about holding hands, hugging, we go to kissing, we go to underwear zone, and then we go to sexual intercourse. They will know, where am I supposed to stop it? Where is it a danger zone? Like that, not just telling them no, and you don't tell them why.
We are quick to communicate what we don't want and not what we want. You leave there what you want for them to figure it out for themselves. Also coming to you, Catherine, looking at how we can help our children work on their shortcomings, even if it means getting them mentorship as you passionately do.
What you also need to do as parents is we need to table our shortcomings on them. If they realize that you had a struggle in school, they'll see, mommy, you're human. But now mommy and daddy, they sit at a place of, they are so perfect, the children are wondering, and where did I come from? So we need to help them understand. Like, they need to understand when they go into Form 1 the first day, anybody that is super artificially friendly with them, they are suggesting something. And they normally, children tell me, when they go into Form 1, somebody comes and makes for them their bed. Then they make sure they don't miss breakfast. Then I have to tell them, now you have to be very alert. And the next time this person that is coming to help them, because these are the ones that are not very straight, they'll come and touch them in an appropriate way. And then they'll say, excuse me. And then if you're not careful, then they will be recruiting into homosexuality. So we need to speak it out. Parents, we have an advantage if it's a journey that we have walked through. So we know where the pitfalls are, what I normally call a hot one, where we are so honest with them, where we are so open with them, where we are so truthful with them, that they must go to that school, but they must make sure that they don't fit in, so that they can be outstanding. They don't belong to every person. And you know, now as they go into Form 1, Jane, is where they fight that peer pressure, where they're telling each other, mavajoni fara. And me, I normally tell wasichana msipeane na sio karamu. So we have to tell them, and why wasifanye sex, because sex is what is costing our girls to drop out of school. Sex is what is making us have a lot of STDs. The other day it was reported that in Kenya, most of us that are pregnant, we have cervix. So that this child knows what I call 3 Fs. They have a fact, they have a fear, and they have faith, so that as they go, we don't leave them to go and maneuver and find out, because teenagehood is a very good time, a very appropriate time, but can be a time to be disfigured. So we help them walk the talk by relaying what we went through, by stabling our challenges. And you know, they go in, they are told, hey, where come hauna boyfriend, where ni fara? So we have to tell them, yes, even if you have a boyfriend, you must mark your boundaries, because that boyfriend is very innocent. But again, because of peer pressure, that friendship now grows into relationship, and relationship grows into a romantic relationship. And Jane has said, and they hug, and you know, when they are hugged with the wires of the feelings, they go paragasha. So we need to make sure that they own and they are responsible for every act and action they do, so that way they don't abort their destiny.
All right. Now, as we draw closer and closer to the end of this conversation, one aspect that, especially as parents, we struggle with is focusing on moving on. we always go back and forth. Sasa wewe, ungepata ile tungekuwa hapa, lakini ni sawa. Tuendelee. 2 weeks later, ungepata ile, we would have moved on. We never really focus on the moving on part. We always are stuck in that future that didn't come to be. How do you help? And this is now going out exclusively to parents when it comes to focusing on moving on with the results that your child has gotten. Let me start with you, Mercy.
Wow. I always say, as a parent, reparent yourself first before you parent. Deal with yourself first before you deal with the child. Because once you don't deal with yourself first, you're going to project all this anger, resentment to the child. So deal with yourself. Before you even talk to that child, you bring those results here. Talk to yourself. This is my child. I love this child so much. They've gotten this. It starts with you. The acceptance, the admitting. And then just
all
now,
these steps.
All this. Just know that this is it. This is how I'm going to deal with it. Take a deep breath if you need to. Take a walk. And that way, you are going to, first of all, remove everything from yourself and now focus on the child. We have said most of the time we lose it because we are focusing at the wrong area instead of us focusing at the right thing. It has happened. It is like this. It is like this. And once you're done with it, if you need to go back to it, please do it alone. Don't do it with the child. This child has already moved on. You are the one who was pulling them down, and they keep not knowing that they can do better or they are better than that because you keep on reminding them. Again, listen to that child. Yeah, a time you. Let me talk to a family that has a mother and a father and a child. Let the mother bring her expectations, let the father bring the expectations, and let the child bring the expectations. And then let the child knows this is what I expect, because at the end of the day it's the child. Because even the battle between the parents usually makes the child wonder, now where am I, who am I, where am I going, and what is going to happen to me. For you parent your child.
Catherine, your advice to parents who are stuck on these results 2 weeks later, 3 months later, 3 years later, there's no tungepata ile, hatungekuwa hapa.
What I want to tell the parents is that is history. And history does not determine our destiny. Yes, it is true there is called nothing, but they have a destiny. And you cannot move forward when you're looking backwards. Even when you're driving on the road, you drive looking forward. If you look back, what happens? You're going to crash. So parents, what I want to encourage you is swallow the bitter one. Yes, it is your child that's called nothing, but that is not the end of it. And again, now we need to make sure parents help this child of yours. Yes, you can remember and mourn about it, but mourning about it will not change, so that we can help our children decide the decisions that will defend their destiny. And this can only be by moving forward. What are the steps that we need to move forward? As we go into Form 1, parents, we need to make sure that we put our fear somewhere and risk the children in the hands of God. Let them go. As a hunter who tried to hunt yesterday and they never got anything, they will not fail to wake up because they never got anything. They are going to go and sharpen their skills. So parents, the only thing that we can help our children do is instructing them the way to walk. Do not keep bringing up the bridge that they crossed, because if we bring it again, uriaguka, iyo ni ya uko. We have to now make sure that we move to today so that we can move forward. The word forward. You make sure that you are pressing and looking forward and hoping that it's going to get better. And I want to say again, and hope does not disappoint. These children have an appointment and they can turn themselves around. Let me say again. You can imagine Bukuoma, here I am. So what we need to do is have faith in our children. As we have faith in our children, then the children, you must have faith in yourself. Then you must have a right attitude. Then you put those efforts. Do not even try to make us understand kulikuwa kukaeda pana. Let your efforts speak for you, because effort will bring in results.
Now, Mercy, as we close this conversation, would you advise parents and children who are really struggling to find a way around accepting and moving forward with these results to actually seek therapy and counseling?
Yes, it is very okay to seek help when you are not able to move forward, because getting stuck and staying there will not help. It will not help. The therapist or the counselor will help you unpack, because for you not to move forward, it means you have a lot that you have that is hindering you from moving forward. So they will help you unpack bits by bits, and you're going to be able to see things from a different perspective, Nothing is going to be added to you. You're just going to use what we have, and everything you unpack, and you'll be able to be lighter.
All right.
Yeah, and maybe the parting shot.
Yes.
Let me just tell them, it doesn't matter what happened for the child, for the parent. Jeremiah 29:11. God says, "For I know the plans I have for you, to prosper you, not to hurt you, but for you to have a future." Yes.
Catherine, your closing remarks in line with this conversation.
Parents, it is well and can get better. Even when it doesn't get better, there's no darkness that is so dark that it prevents the next morning to come. And I want us to look at the word sun. The sun in the morning, it will raise up and it will come and has never gotten tired. Parents, let us not get tired. Let us not give up on our children. There is hope. And that word is Romans 5:5 that says, and hope does not disappoint. When we look at the word hope as an acronym, H will tell us hold, O will tell us on, P will tell us problem aid. Yes, they did not perform very well, but doesn't make them a failure. They still hope, and hope does not disappoint. Thank you.
There you have it. Once again, this is all about an informative and encouraging session just to help you as a parent, as a teacher, or as a caregiver, and the child who was actually doing these exams. You know, you have gone through the 8 years. It was summed up in that one exam, but that does not, in a nutshell, describe you. So whatever results you got, work with what you had and look at the options that are available for you as a child, and even as a parent. This is the point where you come in really heavy for your child. We have been speaking with Catherine Karira, who is a teen youth mentor. We also have with us Mercy Chege, who is a mental health advocate. Thank you so much, ladies, for being with us and sharing from your expertise.
Thank you.
All right. Now, before we get to close, there's one, okay, I've scrolled too fast. Let me get this. Nimescroll sana. Imeenda wapi? There we go. This is a very informative discussion. I absolutely love it. Parents have so much to learn when it comes to how we parent our children. Again, we can all learn at any given time. So thank you so much for being with us. That was Patrick on Twitter. We do this again tomorrow. Be sure to join us here on Good Morning Kenya. KBC Channel 1 is the station. My name is Jean Mamboy. Do enjoy the rest of your viewing. Bye-bye for now.
Umekamilika.
Obe mami ntokaki.
Twarejea kwa udi na uvumba, kwa vishindo si haba, nderemo na vifijo. Tulia tuli, maana mambo si kama kawaida tena, kwani kupitia runinga yako ya KBC ushapata tarehe. Vitimbi kila Jumatatu jioni saa 1:35. Usikose.